The sugar hit of a new coach has turned to an almighty crash for North Melbourne. The Roos on a 5-game skid after winning their opening 2. While across the coach's box is a man who, at least for a short while, was linked with the job at North. Ross Lyon is wringing the neck out of his St Kilda list. With the Saints, a win today could see them move into the 4. For the Roos, 5 changes, 442 games of experience left on the cutting room floor of match committee this week. 2 changes for the Saints to the team that lost to Port last Friday night. No late changes today. The subs, Jack Bytel and Charlie Lazaro. Welcome to Docklands. Ben Cameron and Andrew Mays in commentary this afternoon. Nathan Burke, the Australian Football Hall of Famer, and Brad Sewell, the dual premiership hawk, in expert comments for you. Maisie, firstly to you. Great to see you again today. It's not the biggest time slot, and I think we're most expecting, or most people are expecting, a comfortable St Kilda win. What are you expecting?
Yeah, you never know. I'm probably expecting the same thing. It's just another good test for this St Kilda side. Obviously, you're expected to win today, but I think I said to you off air, 12 months ago, you'd probably be a little less sure about this game for the Saints, but with Ross at the helm, you just have a little bit more faith and confidence in what they're going to produce week on week. I'll tell you what, it is nippy outside. Been a lot of discussion about a roof down at Hobart at the new stadium. I reckon today's a pretty good example of why a roof will be very handy down there over the next few decades.
They do tell us all the time that it rains less in Hobart than it does here in Melbourne, but I think from the temperature, it will just keep you a little warmer inside the stadium down in Hobart. But whether you can get a roof for $715 million, we're not exactly sure.
Cheap roof.
As of yet. North Melbourne, the concerns in the last few weeks for them, they haven't even won a quarter in their last 3 matches. So have not won one of their last 12 quarters, which I think is deeply concerning. And a nice note to welcome in Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell. Berkey, firstly you, that is damning, isn't it?
Yeah, g'day Ben. I was just sitting here thinking, okay, how can I pump this game up a bit and pump North up a bit? And you just throw that one at me.
Yeah.
So, no, that's not good form leading into a game against a team who's at the pointy end of the ladder at the moment. So, be interesting to see what Clarko does. Is it because of structure and talent that they're not winning quarters? Some people who've been watching them closely think that, you know, just their effort hasn't been there, and that's the real damning thing. You can be less talented, you can be learning new structures and things like that, but when your effort is being questioned, that's a big issue. So we'll see in probably the first 10 minutes whether effort has been something that Clarko's focused on.
Brad Sewell won 2 premierships under Alistair Clarkson. You know him better than most people. What will he be doing to try and turn this around for the Roos, do you think, Sully?
I think he'll be trying to make it fun again. I mean, to have not won a quarter in the last 12, I think you said there, it is a really heavy place to be around if that's all you're focusing on. And so I would imagine he's just trying to breathe a bit of life back in, a bit more enthusiasm, try and engage some of the younger players, some of the passion, just some of that young bravado, and try and have them flip it around and enjoy the game again a bit more. Because if they're listening to the likes of today's opening, they're not going to be feeling great about the game. And as Berkey said, all you can ask for is effort. And so I'm happy to sit here at the end of the 4 quarters if they haven't won another quarter, provided they've had a crack. And I think as a spectator and as a North supporter, that's all you can ask is just effort, put your head over the ball, run straight through it, and at least have a go.
You mentioned, Ben, before the players and the amount of games that they're missing or that were left out of this team. I reckon if I was a North Melbourne supporter coming to the ground today, I'd prefer games being pumped into kids.
Yeah.
Because you know what you're getting with those who aren't there today. They've been around the system for 7, some of them 10 years. I reckon if I'm coming to the footy, even if I was a North supporter not expecting us to win, I want to see a couple little things from youngsters. And I'd rather see it from them than people who've been in the system for 7, 8, 9 years.
You'd rather be a Hawthorn supporter than a North supporter in terms of the way both teams are going about it?
At the moment, yeah. Yep.
It was interesting. Mark Robinson wrote an opinion piece.
Too many years of being a Carlton supporter.
They've got their own issues. Mark Robinson wrote an opinion piece during the week suggesting that, look, they need to have a look at Flynn Perez and make some of the changes, and that he thought Aaron Hall shouldn't be there, even though he had 30 disposals last week, and maybe he had an inkling of what was coming because those changes have been made. Also, Blake Drury will have a new highlight in terms of the best sporting moment in his life when he debuts here today, because he was actually the top ball boy at the Australian Open back in 2019, and he was the ball boy in the Australian Open final. There are multiple photos of him in his ball boy clobber with Novak Djokovic after Djokovic has won the title, and even one in which Novak is leaning over to give him a high five. And he makes his debut today for North Melbourne.
Was he a net ball boy? He might be quick off the mark. What can we expect from his ball boying days? Probably disciplined.
I think if he needs to underarm the ball back when there's been a free kick, he should hit the target.
Probably can concentrate pretty well. That's what ball boys need to do.
So, good at ground level.
Yeah.
Very good.
Just, good at ground level. So it's all there today. Very quickly, gents, we've had a truncated pre-game. Where do you think it's going to be won and lost today?
Out there. No, for me, Sully, it is can North Melbourne get through Saints' defence into a position where they can actually kick goals. They're number 18 for marks inside 50. That doesn't bode well against the St Kilda side. It is very well disciplined defensively. So they need to figure that out if they are going to actually win the game, North Melbourne. But Saints, it's probably back to their way that they want to play.
Yeah, you'd think so. And this would be a good test for St Kilda in terms of how disciplined and how structured they can remain. If the Kangaroos fall away, we'll get a good indication of where the Saints are at in their development path. If they can maintain their structures and their discipline and their team cohesion and selflessness, this could be a thumping win, depending on the effort from the Kangaroos.
Let's send it downstairs. Jess Webster is with us once again here on Grandstand AFL. Jess.
G'day, Ben. Certainly happy to be under roof this afternoon, given the miserable Melbourne weather outside. You mentioned the challenges that North Melbourne will have against St Kilda today. They've lost 8 of their last 9 games here at Docklands. But keep your eye on Jai Simpkin today. Since 2019, he's averaged 28 disposals and 6.5 clearances against the Saints. So North fans will be hoping he has another big game this afternoon if there's any chance of getting over the line.
Great work, Jess. Which way are we tipping? Berkey?
I'm going to go the Saints. I normally like to go out on a limb, but I think that limb's too creaky.
And bad news, Berkey. No one out there for the Saints today in number 48, 29 or 3.
Yeah, they retired them.
They must have.
They didn't tell me.
Hanging from the rafters.
I was
down
looking
there.
up in the rafters somewhere.
You taking the Saints,
Yes,
Sully?
absolutely.
What about you, Maisie?
Yes, and Kilda.
I think we're all aboard the Saints. All in readiness. The final game of round 8. It is North Melbourne and St Kilda underneath the roof. And you're with Andrew Mays on Grandstand AFL.
Marshall and Goldstein in the ruck. Goldstein won it down and then it ricocheted towards him. Straight off to Davies Uniacke. Long high kick inside 50. Larkey sets himself. Paddled to his own advantage. Recovered best at ground level as well. Hand pass out to Zurha. Tackled immediately. He's wrapped up 40 out directly in front.
Great start by the Kangaroos, getting the ball in their forward half.
How good it is to see Davies Uniacke streaming out of the middle. Lovely tap by Goldstein down to Zurha, who roved it well. His kick, though, was not so good. It popped out to Larkey, who snaps and misses. Should have done better with that opportunity early in this game. 35 seconds in, North with a behind.
Well, he won't get a better one than that because Josh Battle actually just handballed the ball to him. Thought it was his own teammate and hit him on the chest.
Battle receives the kick in, goes short on the bounce to Burns, so gives it off to Crouch. Long kick to the wing for the Saints. Mackay in front, takes the mark for North. Gets it off to Davies Uniacke. Whacks it long towards full forward. At the back, Wilkie again. Strong defensive mark for the Saints. Flares it out to left half back.
Off to another man who's having a good season in Wood. A couple of boos from a few North fans as well. Interesting times for him. He's having probably the best year of his career so far. He worked the ball nicely along to Owens, who then goes long to left half forward. Ball turned over. Goldstein, hand pass to Davies Uniacke, who gave it straight to Sinclair of the Saints. Off by hand quickly to Hill. He pumps them inside 50. Mackay is set and takes a good defensive mark. Membry not able to get back in time. Mackay, short kick to the top of his defensive goal square. Perez takes the mark and then he goes further wide still. Oh, Stevenson dropped an absolute pud. Burns onto it, centres up and Higgins takes the mark. 35 out, 45 degree angle to the right.
Well, if Saints are going to kick goal, North need to make them earn the goals. And dropping chest marks coming out of the defensive 50, that's not making them earn them. But this has to go through, but they've got to make every opportunity they can to get the ball up their end. And that was poor by Stevenson.
I watched Higgins have about 5 shots from this angle and he didn't miss in the warm-up. This going very close to the right goalpost, the wrong side. One behind a piece after 2 minutes here in the opening
As soon
term.
as you say that, Maisie, what do you think is going to happen?
Sorry.
Sheasel goes short to the pocket. Zeeble marks. Kicks on his left towards halfback. Logue coming up at the footy. He drops the chest mark, spills down, eventually tackled strongly as Curtis Taylor. He's taken high. He'll get a free kick.
Curtis Taylor was the one being tackled, but he put his hand over Crouch's shoulder.
He
Got
goes
the arms mixed up.
back inside the defensive 50 to Zeeble, who goes short laterally and away to McDonald. Chips it short again. Here's Core. He'll chip it very short to the debutant, and Blake Drury with his first touch in AFL footy. He'll go back to centre half back, and Zeeble one behind a piece.
Zeeble wanted to take off, but his footing eluded him. He slipped, so he had to pause. He goes inside defensive 50 to Mackay. That's a poor turnover from the big man. Off to Owens, and now to Wood. Wood pumps it inside 50. Zeeble in prime position, getting back and taking the defensive mark on his chest.
Kangaroos can't go slow here. They just play into the defensive setup of St Kilda if they just kick from side to side.
Lateral kick from Zeeble to this celebrated rookie in Sheasel, who will go short. Bailey Scott in the left back pocket. Scott will wheel and kick long towards the wing. Logue will attack the footy. Right there with him, Wilkie. Logue a lot of it and paid the free kick. He'll give it off by hand to Scott. Ruse down the dockside wing. Short kick. Mark taken by Stevenson. He kicks infield. Not the required 15 to Logue. North still with it around the logo. And Davies Uniacke sweeps a handball back to Mackay.
Mackay at half-back, everyone in front of him, so he pumps it straight down the middle. Poor kick. Oh, straight through the hands there of Stocker. Sinclair has to try and mop up out the back. Goldstein went down and won it well. Marshall's in there as well for the Saints. Handpass comes the way of Steele over the top to Ward. He's gone, holding the ball. Wonderful forward pressure from Zerha. Read that move like a book, and he can line up for the first goal of this game.
Great pressure. That's what you're going to be doing if you get the chance to get it in long. And we started with Mackay at half back. It's a bit of a stutter. It took him a while to take the ground that was in front of him. Fortunately, Stocker dropped a mark he should have taken, but that's where the small forwards, and Zerha, I put in that category as well, that's where that pressure has to be up to try and lock it in.
Excellent chase down tackle on his former teammate Zerha to come in and kick the first. It's almost off the shin, didn't even make the distance. Poor effort there from someone who should be doing better. Now Wanganeen Miller to Wilkie, who's caught on his right and still uses it beautifully. Burns takes the mark. Hand pass over to Wanganeen Miller, and they're away.
Handball to Crouch. He's corralled though by Perez. Has to go back with the handball. Back to Burns, who will go short. Wanganeen Miller up. Have it a mark. Short to Hill. Saints down this dockside wing. Back to Wanganeen Miller up. He'll kick really short to a leading target, and Sharman. 60 from home, wants to set it up towards full forward, looking for Wood. Owens comes across, can't take the mark. Sinclair running by, spills it first time, gathers second. Handball to Marshall, handball back over the top. Wood in the pocket trying to gather it. He can't initially. The Roos pile on. Deep in the left forward pocket here for the Saints, holding the ball. So the Roos will get it back in their right back pocket.
Short kick to Sheasel. I'm not quite sure that was 15 metres. Very lucky to be paid the mark on his defensive goal line. And then a short pass to Core. Left back pocket. Hemmed in against the boundary. Just places it in front of Logan that occasion and almost could have been a mark. Dribbles it over. Double grabber. So it's ball to be tossed in.
He's ending well up this side, Logan. It's his third sort of hit up prospect he's been.
Just been a bit almost, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has.
Toss back into play. Goldstein won it down looking for Simpkin. Just bounced away from him. Cunnington intercepts the hand pass though. High kick just over the wing. Leaping again was Logue. Almost the hand pass from the new man Drury, setting his teammate free. Clark's kick is smothered. Good pressure here from North. Howard has to mop up. He gets it to Burns by hand. Now Clark with courage going back with a flight, forced a contest. Got up and almost won it himself. Boundary line might be his friend. He keeps it in and works the 1-2 with Burns. And back to Burns by hand. Lovely work, Hunter Clark. Burns a high kick over the wing. Intercept mark here for Goldstein. No one opposed. Takes a good mark.
Goldstein a little unsure. Eventually will go back inside the D50 and Mackay can mark. Wants to switch it out to Tucker. Former Docker just inside his defensive 50. 1 minor score apiece through the opening 7 minutes as Tucker goes short to Zeeble.
Zeeble's going to have 40 today. He just stands inside his defensive 50 and all by himself. They're going to go backwards and forwards and he'll have 30 uncontested marks.
He moves it on to Tucker, to McDonald. Handball over the top. Here's Drury again. Kicking around the city wing. Goldstein caught behind. Reaches over the top. Takes the mark for the Roos.
He wheels and goes quickly. You can see a man free in the pocket. It was Zerhard just over his head in the end. He sockers it to keep it in as it looked like it was going to trickle over the boundary line. Picks it up. He's taken strongly. Ball held to him. Ball up right forward pocket for the Roos. But their fans are encouraged with their first 7 or 8 minutes
well
in.
Constructed by the Roos. Got an overlap handball, then Goldstein turned and kicked it in along quickly.
Chance from this stoppage. Goldstein won it down, looking for Simpkin, just spilt it. Battle, hand pass to Clark. His kick smothered. Awkward kick from Ross. Hill, hand pass, almost turned over. It was Simpkin. His hand pass knocked down. It's hot in the clinches at the moment. Hill becomes the tackler on Perez, who got through one tackle, probably not the second. Shields pokes a kick forward. Marshall on hands and knees, off to the run of Burns. Still inside defensive 50 here, the Saints. A nice kick out towards Butler came from Clark. Ball sits for him, probably about 70 from his defensive goal. Loop to hand pass over the top with the run of Sinclair. Sinclair kicks an absolute floater, or bounce in front of Membry, who runs onto it nicely. Heard the voice from behind. He's now turned it over. Mackay on hands and knees. Then he's tackled. Stood up in the tackle, taken back to ground. We'll have a ball up right half forward here for the Saints.
Hasn't been a bad spectacle so far.
No,
good pressure by both sides.
Zooming up and down. The Saints really want to go fast. You can tell that every time they get a handball opportunity, they take it.
Marshall swats a boundary side. It ricochets back to him. Dumps it on the left. Snaps inside attacking 50. Spoiled away at the fall of the ball. Perez gets it back to McDonald. He'll kick the Roos towards the logo. Underneath it. Strong mark. The debutant, Drury.
Hasn't looked out of place.
No, looks very comfortable. Used to the big stage. As on the logo. Kicks long inside 50 and Wilkie again. Another intercept mark and he plays on for the Saints.
Just hung a little too long in the air. Risky kick from Wilkie. He's turned it over. Mackay coming the other way. Takes the intercept mark in front of Membry. Pokes the kick over the top and that's all right as well. Tucker on the far side. 2 kicks from goal. Kicks it over the top to Sheasel. He can get it and go. He didn't roll. So he takes his time. Pauses from 60. Called the play on. He's going to take advantage of running around the man on the mark. And lovely delivery to Larkey, who dropped it. Should have taken that easily. Now a chance for Drury. He's caught high. Got down, won the hard ball. And as he was rising, caught over the shoulder. Free kick for the first gamer.
Well played. Put his head over the ball. Got in the right place. Shouldn't have been a drop mark to begin with. Sheasel found some space and just dinked it nicely. And Saints defenders just fell asleep. There shouldn't have been a leading lane there.
Well, Larky's got to hang on to those, especially with Combat not in the team. They haven't got a lot of big fellas. He's got to take every opportunity. Blake
Drury, what a moment this would be. He's been involved early. Been a big part of the game so far. All the way to the goal line and over for one behind. Doubles the advantage. North 2 behind. St Kilda 1 after 10.5 minutes.
Shots of the family watching on. Saints move it towards the city wing. Here's the run of Hill. He'll kick towards the wing and coming up Membry. Low down, able to mark. Wants to get it moving for the Saints. Towards half forward. Philippou. Spoiled away from him by McDonald. Mackay to Sheasel. Bergman. Roos through a chain of handballs. Now Simpkin. Handball over the top. Sheasel on the logo. Chips it forward. He's able to find Curtis Taylor.
Kick over the top is all right as well. And running inside 50. Mark taken by Taylor, and he'll have a shot from about 50, 45 degree angle to the right.
I like what the Kangaroos are doing here. They're happy to find that lateral movement until they find an overlap handball, and they've been really constructive going forward, just finding that space. Forwards are holding back, allowing the midfielders to run into that space around the arc.
Starts his approach from 55, crosses the paint of 50, Taylor, kicks from 48, got underneath the ball, has it got enough on it, all the way to the line. I think that might be a goal, and we're going to go upstairs. It's been punched through, it's just a matter of whether it crossed the line or not.
He likes it, he's giving it a little fist pump.
The other Kangaroos players are setting up for a kick in.
Just from the umpire's reaction, it looked like it might have been a goal, but I think the soft call is a behind.
Review underway.
No, touched.
Review complete. Looking at the
Nice quick review there. If only we had a few more of those. It took all of about 3 seconds. So one behind. They're going in behinds at the moment. 3 to North and 1 to the Saints.
There's been gettable opportunities for the Kangaroos too. They really want to make the most of this.
So the only All-Australian out there today, Jack Sinclair, to take the kick in. He'll Lamble to the pocket and kick as long as he can. And Filippo goes upstairs and takes the mark. I mean the only All-Australian from last year, before anyone corrects me, as the kick goes towards the wing. And knocked out a play by Marnie, getting in front of Crouch, and a throw in on the wing.
Good to see Filippo getting a touch early. He's been a little bit quiet of late. Started out with a big rush, but an 8-day break is certainly going to help him.
Umpire spins it in. Marshall slaps it down into the bonds of Filippo, eventually piling in his Sheasel. All up on the logo. St Kilda in their hot cross buns jumper, with a cross on the front. North Melbourne in their traditional royal blue and white stripes and their home blue shorts.
Tossed up, just shy of centre wing. Goldstein again down towards Simpkin. Hand pass to Cunnington. Off to Zeeble, and now back to Simpkin by hand. He goes inboard by hand to Shields. And now to Goldstein. Looping 30-metre hand pass further forward. It might work if Marnie can gather. He did, but he was wrapped up immediately by Wanganeen Miller. Ball up left half forward for the Roos. Now that hand pass from the big man. Sweeping is the only way you can describe that. He goes again in the ruck. Got the hand pass this time to Simpkin, who was bursting through. Just bumped off it at the last moment. Burns scrubbers a kick forward. Gained about 20 metres. Crouch might have been taken without it. Umpire called play on. Philippou. That's a good hand pass to Sharman, and that's even better. They are out. Hand pass ends up with Hill, who goes inside 50. Players to choose from everywhere. Membry, and now Membry was really in between passing and kicking a goal all the way to the line. It's spoiled proof for a rush behind. Butler, how he wasn't taken with front on contact there, I'll never know.
Front on contact. Chopped the arms, one of the two.
Bergman did pretty well there. I think he turned his body as the ball was at the right time. 3 behinds plays 2 behinds. Rossi Lyon's not happy in the box, I can tell you.
I think Rossi would have rather Big Membry go back and kick that one through from 40 metres.
A little bit like a 0-0 draw so far. A free kick here at left half forward. To go the way of Tucker. 26-year-old. Moved over from the Dockers after 108 games. Goes back to Zeeble. It goes back to Corp. And now Mackay. Out towards the city wing, the Roos will try. He sends it in that direction and turns it over. And Patton takes the intercept mark for St Kilda.
Zeeble 7 disposals, 6 marks. He's on track.
To Stocker he goes, who bites off a nice kick into the middle. Clark takes it, hand pass immediately off to Crouch. Got under that a bit, it's wide, but Steele's able to take the mark. He's 55 from goal, looking for the pass inside 50. And a good lead there by Gresham into the forward pocket. He takes a sliding mark on his knees, and he'll line up from probably about 50 metres in the end. He'll start his approach from outside the boundary.
Challenge for the Kangaroos going forward is they've been pretty good, pretty consistent. They've stuck to the task, but you know the Saints just going to strangle you defensively, and that was the first time we've seen Mackay just a long kick into down the throat of St Kilda's defender.
So Gresham basically standing on a couple of cameramen as he starts his approach. Crosses the boundary line, then the paint of 50 and hits it off the instep. Not sure that was meant to be a centering kick. Roving it beautifully, front and centre, and just missing was Crouch, one behind. So we're level. 3 behinds apiece after 16 minutes in the opening term.
I don't know why Jack Higgins and smaller players jump for those. That's not your job. You're just getting in the way. Certainly know what would happen if you jumped in front of Plugger in that sort of marking contest.
Zeeble goes long from behind. Battle spoils it down for the Saints. Onto it, Butler. Handball back to Battle. Tries to soccer it out of there. Tucker gathers for North. Handball away to Marnie. His handball, a little errant. Sheasel does well. Handball over the head. Gets it onto Davies Uniacke. Up the middle goes the kick. Larkey can't gather. Piling on top is Battle to hold him up. The umpire circles, lets them play. It's eventually held in. And we'll get a ball up in the middle of the ground. Just quickly, with what you can say on radio, what would happen if you stood in that hole in front of Plugger?
Yeah, he wouldn't care if it was you or the opposition. The knee would go as hard as it possibly could right through you. Start in the back and come through the chest.
Ball in the centre square, tossed up. Owens having a bit of time in the ruck. Cunnington sharked it, and he was wrapped up immediately. It spurted out at the last moment. Ricocheted off Dan Butler's heel in the end, in the direction of Steele. He was taken without it, and he'll receive the free kick on the wing. St Kilda fans pretty happy with that. Think they've been hard done by from the umps. 17 played opening term. We're at 3 behinds apiece. Both teams have had chances.
That was the first free kick for the Saints.
There you go. Burns takes the mark. Nice kick by Steele. Right half forward. 2 kicks from goal. He can pump it inside 50. That's what he'll do. This will land about 30 out from goal. Where are the Flyers from behind? The Saints had a few. Rope by Shees will work the 1-2 and then Spilton on the way through. Butler squeezes out a kick and has the first of the afternoon. Lovely little piece of improvisation to squeeze that kick through on his left. Dan Butler has the first of the game. It took a long time, 18 minutes of the opening term. They lead by 1 straight kick, the Saints.
Well, it wasn't pretty surely, but that's probably the first time that they've had good representation in the air and on the ground. A few other times that they've kicked the ball in there, it's been an ill-directed kick. North Melbourne, I think Mackay's taken quite a few intercept marks down there, but that was just your classic kick it to a pack, get the small fellas at the foot of the pack where they should be, not trying to take mark of the year, and you get a goal. It's simple stuff, but it doesn't happen that often.
You can text in, let us know where and how you're listening. 0437 774 774. Crooked bounce in the middle. We'll try again.
5.838 apiece at the G.
From the restart, laying it down is low. Davies Uniacke, handball chopped off by Owens. Floats a kick inside 50 for the Saints. Sharman reaches over Perez and pinches the mark. 45 out, slight angle right of centre.
He's got some rare talent, this young fella. He's one of those players that so far in his career he's been in, he's out. Probably Philippou and Owens, these guys jumped over him as that tallish forward, but he's certainly got some freakish abilities.
Played 10 games last year, mid-season recruit in 2021. He started that season in the reserves in the SANFL. Comes in from 50 here. His driving kick is out to the left. They're behind. 1-4-10 plays 3 behind. St Kilda lead 20 minutes into the opening term.
Risky kick in as well. It sat up and Hill's able to smash it over for a boundary throw in. So another stoppage inside attacking 50 here for the Saints. They just got a hold here, North Melbourne. Probably should have a couple of goals on the board. They trail by 7 points, 20 played opening term, tossed back into play. Membry doing the ruck work this time. Tapped over his head. Sharman tries to keep it in, but Haley Scott's there to usher him over for a boundary throw, and this time 55 from the St Kilda goal.
Leading by 7 points. Butler the only goal of the game. Owens takes it out of the ruck, snaps towards the hot spot. Oh, the mark dropped down there by Mackay. Spills out to Higgins, to Gresham. Saints with it, Sharman. Flying shot from 45. He misses to the right. He's missed both sides in both styles. A set shot and on the run 1-5-11 St Kilda. North Melbourne 3 behinds, 21 and a half into the first term.
Zebra with the kick in, short straight up the middle. He finds McDonald, and that was really lazy there from Higgins, who wasn't quick to man the mark and sort of just floated in the protected area in 50 metres it is. Marched all the way to the middle. So McDonald can pump this forward if he wants. Gains a few metres, and then this will land about 20 out from goal. Larkey ran underneath the ball, didn't get a run at it. Wood there. He got it back to Battle by hand, and Battle just a dump kick out of there. It'll land on the chest of Perez, who can find North Melbourne back inside attacking 50.
Perez goes short. Mark taken by Zeeble. Stacking up his marks early on. Zeeble kicks inside attacking 50, looking for Larkey right with him. Howard fists it away. Throw in right forward pocket here for North Melbourne, searching for their first goal of the game. Zeeble up to 7 marks to go along with 11 disposals.
Even that kick I'd like to be put at the top of the square, at least just get the kill defenders a little bit twitchy as opposed to lead to the boundary.
Toss back into play. Chance here for North deep in their forward line, although Marshall wrestles Goldstein away from it and then just kicks it forward. Another dump kick, another turnover. So North setting up well here behind the ball. Mackay, he'll pump it inside 50. A lot of method behind that. No mark to Larkey. At ground level, the Saints get to work. Wanganeen Miller to Crouch by hand, who spun and then goes towards Mackay, who nudged Owens under the ball, but at ground level it's all St Kilda. Higgins off to Hill, who pumps it inside 50 in front of Butler, who steadies, bends it and rocks it into the post. Caught on his left, was relying on a good bounce, didn't get it. So it's 1 behind. 1-6-12 plays 3 behinds. Saints in front by 9 after 23 minutes.
Zeeble, a short kick into Core, who goes back to Zeeble. Another mark. Mark number 8. Moves it on to Shields, who goes short to Scott, bringing it dockside wing. Mark taken there by Curtis Taylor. Comes inside to Paul Curtis. Gives off the handball. Away to Davey Juniak. On the logo. High ball inside 50. Goldstein contests. Ball comes down. Losing it, Marshall. Larkey tackled by Sinclair. Ball spills free. Goldstein. Away to Paul Curtis. And now Scott off to Logue, flying shot. And he misses left. Just sneaks it through for a minor score. It was a little bit laborious for North Melbourne on the build-up. 4 behinds plays 1-6, St Kilda lead.
They go quickly from the kick in. Wanganeen Miller, a long one. Mackay didn't take the mark. Ground level Shields will kick this inside 50. It's a high ball. Stevenson will have to fly. And he takes a wonderful mark. Sandwiched between 2 Saints, and he leapt over both of them.
The issue for the Saints is they're kicking that long ball out of their defensive 50, but they've only got Mitch Owens up around the wing. And when you've got Mackay and the other tall defenders there, you just can't outmark them, especially when the kick isn't to his advantage. And that's why North Melbourne are able to win that footy and keep sending it back inside 50.
So a chance for Stevenson. Dropped a mark in his defensive 50. What's he got in his attacking 50? Didn't make the distance in the end. We've seen that a couple of times, and then the Saints fashion a kick forward. It lands luckily on the chest of Sharman. Sharman goes short to Ross, and he has it in the right back pocket.
I've got a question for you, Sully. I've been very reliably informed that the no long sleeve jumper rule under Clarko is very real, as Ross kicks towards the wing. Owens flying, fisted away, thrown on the wing.
Certainly was, but looking at Stevenson, I feel like he might be softening his old age, Clarko.
How's he got it past him?
I don't know.
Under a roof.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not sure. Either he's much braver than what we were, or Clarko's getting a bit softer.
I think he must be softening in his old age. St Kilda by 8 points, 1-6 to 4 behinds. Marshall wins the tap. Crouch tries to squeeze away a kick, and it's not a long quarter, given we only saw one major kicked. It came through Dan Butler. So at quarter time, St Kilda 1-6-12 lead North Melbourne, 4 behinds here on Grandstand. 0437 774 774 is the SMS line number if you wish to get involved here on Grandstand AFL and let us know where and how you're listening this afternoon. But as I said, it's a low-scoring tussle at quarter time. St Kilda 1 straight 6, leading North Melbourne 4 behinds. This is Grandstand AFL.
What's the best thing in the world that's also on the ABC Listen app? The footy! This season, get your footy live and ad-free on the ABC Listen app.
Straight through for a goal.
AFL, NRL, men's, women's. Whatever you fix, we've got you covered.
She's got it. Bye-bye. See you later.
Every goal, try, mark and tackle. Called by ABC Sports expert commentary team.
Set, bingo.
AFL and NRL, live and ad-free. Get it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
This will land about 30 out from goal. Where are the Flyers from behind? The Saints had a few. Rope by Cheese will work the 1-2 and then Spilton on the way through. Butler squeezes out a kick and has the first of the afternoon. Dan Butler has the first of the game. It took a long time, 18 minutes of the opening term.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So just the one goal courtesy of Dan Butler, St Kilda leading 1-6-12 to 4 behinds over North Melbourne. Your experts today, Nathan Burke, the Australian Football Hall of Famer, and Brad Sewell, the dual premiership Hawk.
Even first quarter, Berkey, and probably a better spectacle than what we were expecting. Statistically very even on both sides, and to be fair, both are just lacking a little bit of polish. The Kangaroos firstly had a number of opportunities to hit the scoreboard and just fell short, and the Saints kept on peppering and putting it in a dangerous place, but just couldn't quite finish. And Sharman getting two very gettable shots on goal, but overall, pressure and intensity has been reasonable by both sides, so I'd expect both coaches would have been happy with their side's performance.
Yeah, I think there's some stats today that we can throw out the window that don't really mean much, and I think Mark's probably one. It's 41-25 are in favour of North Melbourne. Zeeble and Mackay, the two key defenders, have had 22 possessions between them and 15 marks. A lot of it is just that backwards and forwards, and it really doesn't work against the Saints. When they've looked dangerous is when they've got the ball to the middle of the ground and somebody's come running past for a handball. And getting the ball quickly inside their forward 50, that is when they look most dangerous. And you've got to actually go back hard against the Saints. Port Adelaide did that a week ago against the Saints, and they sort of struggled against that. If you try and be composed and pick your way through, it just plays into their hands, they win it, and away they go. So I want to see North Melbourne not so much of the kick backwards and forwards, but actually take the game on. Interesting for the Saints, it's Burns, Wanganeen Malera and Hill with the highest possession, so they're their plays through the middle of the ground. North Melbourne, it's their defenders. I think the Saints are trying to move the ball really quickly with their hands through that middle. It's just that kick inside 50 that's really letting them down. Even the last inside 50, Brad Hill running uncontested, Butler's running back towards goal. He just misses him with that kick and makes him snap one on his left foot into the boundary line. They need to tidy up those forward 50 entries, and I think if they do that, then they have a lot of opportunities to score in this second half. Interesting stats. The Saints only had one free kick for that whole first quarter. I'm not saying they're getting robbed or it's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's unusual that the team only has one for the whole quarter.
Yeah, a little unusual there. North Melbourne this year have given away more goals from free kicks than any other side as well. So been a little ill-disciplined giving away free kicks around goal for whatever that's worth. Marilyn says, as usual, listening from Mullaloo in WA. Let's hope the Saints get over the line this week. 0437 774 774, the SMS line number. Great to have you with us, Marilyn. Elsewhere, earlier today, Port Adelaide 12-20-92 defeated Essendon 13-9-87. Collingwood and Sydney were in time on in the third term, and it is the Pies 6-8-44 leading Sydney 5-9-39. For all they've done, Collingwood, they haven't beaten Sydney under Craig McRae just yet. In the NRL, it's Magic Round up there in Brisbane this weekend. Earlier today, St George went down to West Tigers 18-16, and the Cowboys 10-0 over the Sydney Roosters early in the second half in that contest. Jess Webster is with us on the boundary today, watching on. Jess, anything you picked up at quarter time or in that opening term?
Just looking around the stadium, actually, the crowd, it's actually a pretty decent crowd for a 4:40 twilight game on a Sunday, considering there's a powerhouse club playing just down the road. But the fans on the outer side, so the city side of Docklands, are all within, I reckon, maybe less than half of that side of the ground, and they've blocked off the rest of the third tier. So appearance is everything, it would seem, for the crowd here this afternoon. But other than that, the fans have really enjoyed this contest. It's hot, it's fierce, it may not be high scoring. Hopefully it opens up, but it's a pretty good battle so far.
Let's make a look back for TV. I don't mind it. 1-6-12
bottom level too.
to 4 behinds. A goalless turn for North Melbourne. Goldstein wins the tap down to get the second quarter started. Gresham a kick out towards the logo. Crouch will gather for the Saints. He'll turn and head towards goal with a kick inside 50. Looking for Owens. Higgins brings it down. Ross handball away to Steele. At centre half forward goes back to Marshall. Bumped off his kick. Bounces away to Higgins. Tackled by Davies Uniacke. Sinclair comes in. Eventually Davies Uniacke picks it up. Powers out of the congestion. Handball gets to Marnie.
Marnie, hand pass back to Davies Uniacke. Kept on running, and then the outlet kick is okay.
Saints are too cute. Had numerous times there they could have got the ball deep to the goal square and mucked around with it.
Logue up high above the wing. He takes the mark, and then kick forward is all right as well. Tucker, chip over the top. Now Marnie, who started this chain.
Saints kicking efficiency of 55%.
Short. Simpkin has it. He's ditched. Oh, I thought he might have ditched the glove, but he's still got it on. He has McDonald outside, who kicks it inside 50. Goldstein's there, roving front and centre with Larkey. Might have been holding the ball. It was. Not disposing of it correctly in that tackle. Wilkie has the free kick. He goes short. Mark taken by Howard. Howard up the middle, still inside defensive 50. Sharma presents, takes the mark. Chip over the top is a good one. It just reaches Marshall. Couldn't take the mark, but tapped to his own advantage. Able to gather. Back to Hill. And Hill a centering ball. It's a good one. Ross. Back point of the centre square. Chip over the top to Wangani Miller. Attacking kick into the middle. And the mark taken by Stocker. And now they're away.
Stocker will drive it long in the Membry direction. In good position. Zeeble swirls from behind. Ball spills to the back. Eventually it comes out for Membry. Handball to Wood. Slips through his fingers. Goes back and gets it. Gets it on the left boot. Squeezes a snap on goal. It's across the face. It'll tumble out. Throw in left forward pocket. St Kilda 1-6-12. North Melbourne 4 behinds. 2 minutes played in the second.
Hum to start this second quarter from the crowd. Ball will be thrown in next to the left behind post here. Toss back into play. Marshall wins it down. There was a little bit of space. Simpkin was slung in the tackle, but did well get the hand pass away to Zeeble, who snaps out of the immediate danger. No mark taken there by Wangani Miller. It spurts out the side. Hill almost had it. It was snatched from him by Davies Uniacke, who went one and then couldn't beat the second tackle. And Owens has the free kick. He is 55 from goal. Congested forward line in front of him.
Owens wheels around. Eventually sets it up. A flat ball inside 50 and Zeeble again. Another mark. This one a strong defensive mark. Stands at the front of the pack and takes it for North at fullback. He'll kick laterally to Sheasel. Sheasel from the back pocket. A bullet out onto the chest of Marnie. Beautiful ball user Harry Sheasel as Marnie goes short to Shields. Shields will chip into the middle of the ground and just find Bergman. North Melbourne again trying to find a way through St Kilda. And they've been ground to a halt again across halfback. Short kick from Bergman to Zeeble, who wants to switch it out to Core at right halfback.
Core has it, takes it and plays on immediately. Kick is good too inboard to find Shields. He goes back to Core, who kept on running. Now he can drive them inside 50. High kick. Larkey will leap for this. Didn't get off the ground in the end. Ball spills to the front. Now Howard looking for a hand pass. It was there to Crouch. He was under immediate pressure. Good turnover here. And now Zurha's onto it. Hand pass back to Simpkin, looking for a way through. Gets around Wood, onto his left, drives him to the hot spot, going back with the flight bravely was Logue. Front and centre Shields. His kick was knocked down and took a bit out of it as being able to gather was Wilkie off to Howard, and then he goes short to Wangani Miller in the left back pocket. Short pass back to Wilkie. Sully.
Kangaroos been very deliberate in their build-up, giving them a chance to get it inside 50. I've quite enjoyed it.
Great kick by Wilkie. Favoured Burns, who was able to get behind Sheasel and take a good mark. Still at left half back. Burns drives it forward. Membry will leap from 3 deep here. Couldn't get up and take the mark at the back. Zeeble, hand pass. Out wider still to Bergman, and then further afield to McDonald, to Scott, and now Sheasel. This is all by hand, and he just had to hit the 15-metre target. And it slews off the side of the boot and out of bounds on the full. Fair serve from Jaden Stevenson to Harry Sheasel there as well. Not happy with the delivery. Burns with a free kick for the Saints.
Burns will kick long in the direction of half forward. Off the fist of Core, spills to Owens, handball away to Hill. Knocked out of his hands. Owens will go again, loose footy though. Eventually out to McDonald. He's tackled to ground. And a ball up at half forward here for St Kilda. 1 straight 6. North Melbourne 4 behinds. I feel like it's early, but the record of most marks in a game, Greg Park and Brian Lake, 24. Zeeble could be on. Clear and kick coming from Scott out towards Stevenson, who marks on the wing and is away for the Roos.
You got fastest figures on Google. I was looking at exactly the same thing. Stevenson's kick misses Logue, unfortunately, who's drifting across, couldn't hold on to the mark.
Great minds or fools never differ. I'm not sure which one, Maisie.
He's up to 10. Well on his way.
Hillary and Alex on their way back from a snowy winter walk in Mount Macedon with Wilson the dog. Go Saints.
Oh,
Snowy.
Cold in Mount Macedon today. Toss back into play. Davies Uniacke burst onto it. His hand pass just overcooked it in the end there for Drury, who might get a free kick for in the back. Dive forward, felt the contact from behind, and he'll have another shot for goal, although he's going to look to pass it off. It's a good kick as well.
It's gone 4 metres.
And he finds Zerha, who shouldn't have any problem with the distance. He takes it directly in front, 40 from goal.
Saints should have been onto that. Having seen his first kick at goal earlier in the first quarter, from outside 50 he's going to be well on his limit.
Zerha to kick from 49. He shouldn't have any problems with the distance. He doesn't. It's the accuracy that's a problem. Another behind for the Roos. First of the second term. 5 behinds now for North Melbourne. 1-6-12 the Saints. Margin 7 points after 7 minutes in the second quarter.
I don't think umpires want to have the kerfuffle of saying not 15, play on, and it's a bit of a mess and a ball up, so it's just easier to say, yeah, that's a mark. But some of the marks these days go 10 at the most.
Wanganeen Miller up at right half back. Kicks a low ball around the city wing. Zeeble coming across, can't mark this time, fists it out. And a throw in on the wing.
Would you look at changing it to 20, Berkey?
Absolutely, 20? Yeah, because then they'd pay 15. And we're all happy.
7 points, the Saints' advantage. Thrown on the wing. Clark with the clearance, kicks it towards half forward. Mackay comes out, knocks the footy down, gathered there by Bergman, who gets it off towards Perez. He'll kick laterally to Marnie. Roos with it at half back.
Marnie by hand to Bergman, who had a fumble, double grab. It was okay in the end. Got it away to Drury, to Perez, back to Drury. He had a fumble. Hand pass wasn't so good, put him under pressure. Burns shrugs the tackle, and then Wilkie dropped the hand pass from Burns. One he would have swallowed normally. Might have got a high bump in the end. He did. Perez a little zealous in that attack on the man on the footy. And he receives the free kick, Wilkie behind the wing. Inboard to Stocker. Stocker sees Sinclair, so draws the man on the mark. Hand pass to Sinclair, who goes into the middle. Nice pass to Marshall. A looping hand pass again to Crouch. Further out wide, and now Battle from 70. Loads up. This is all the way to the goal square. Oh, Owens almost the mark. Couldn't complete it. Gresham front and centre. Snaps. Oh, it's touched. Great defence by the Roos. Able to just get a fingertip on it. And smashed over the behind line by Ben Mackay. Another behind. We've had plenty of them. 12. 5 behinds, plays 1 goal 7 after 8 minutes. Second term.
Zeeble stabs it short to Perez, who will kick long to the wing, looking for low. Clark back with courage, gets a fist in. Over the back it goes. Wilkie mops up, bounces a handball back to Sinclair. Saints with it. Here's Hill. He'll chip really short. Just the bare 15, if that, and Stocker can mark. Stocker will bite off a kick into the middle for the Saints. Oh, 2 Saints collide. A horrible error Calamitous picked up by Zurha. Gets it away. Paul Curtis back to Zurha to take full toll. He misses. Oh no. The Saints colliding into each other. It was Crouch and also Patton. And Zurha, who picked it up, could have finished, but he couldn't. He missed. 1-7-13 to 6 behinds.
He had three options: kick the goal, handball over the top, or kick it behind. He chose the third one.
The Saints get it out quickly of defence, and he's wrapped up at right half back for St Kilda. Ball up, stoppage here, chance for Goldstein, who was looking to get it outside of that stoppage. Simpkin thought he was taken without it. Onto it was Howard, who just kicked the left foot snap forward. It's a nice mark, though, by Mackay.
Mackay's doing really well getting in the great positions for those long kicks forward. He's either marking it or bringing it to ground. Membry and these fellas have had no influence because he's been in the right spot every time.
He goes back to Zeeble for his 11th mark of the game.
And to that point, Berkey, it's helped that the Kangaroos' forwards' pressure has been high on the way out, forcing those long dump kicks by the St Kilda defenders to go forward.
They're probably doing more of those long kicks than they've done all this season so far.
Zeeble to Perez, and then further afield to Marnie. Marnie with no option but to go down the line. Spoiled away from a couple of roos. Ross sold the dummy. Then kicked into space, almost hoping Butler to run onto it. Slaps it inside. It was a good idea. Burns is there. Applies the pressure to Zeeble. Holding the ball, yes. Zeeble can't believe it. The Burns with the free kick wants to centre things up over the head of a couple of teammates. Hill out the back, threads the hand pass through. Filippo should kick this, taken down at the last moment. Gresham onto it, he dropped it as well. And through for a rush behind.
Right, next goal wins.
1 goal, 8-14 the Saints. 6 behinds North Melbourne after 11 minutes in the second quarter.
Oh, Zeeble with the kick in to Tucker, who drops the mark. He then goes short, and eventually it's held onto by Curtis. Can we get the ball checked? Something on it. As Curtis kicks out towards the wing, and Tucker is able to run on and mark. He'll stab it short, and Bergman can mark on his chest. 6 behinds to North, 1-8-14. St Kilda, Bergman's kick, not a good one, chopped off. Saints win it back on the wing. Clark to Filippo, nowhere to go, so snaps inside 50. Membry goes up, juggles, brings it down. No! Umpire says play on, and they'll get on top of him, and we'll get a ball up. It was nearly Jonty Rhodes-esque. Knock it up in the air and catch it on the way down. He couldn't quite. Ball up. Forward 50 here for the Saints.
Big chance here for St Kilda. Goldstein with the tap to Simpkin, to Cunnington. Worked nicely by Tucker. Found his way through traffic. Long kick though no good. Turned over. Battle takes the mark. Battle, the short kick for the Saints. Puts Owens under a bit of pressure. Reached him on the bounce, and then Owens is taken high. He lost his footing. Looked like he was going to be caught for holding the ball, and luckily for him, the tackle slipped high.
Zurha, there's no need to do that.
He goes inside 50 with his kick, looking for the lead of Marshall, who takes the mark. Can he be the one to deliver the second goal of this game?
It was one of the few times the kick went to the advantage of the tall forwards, and Marshall could reach up and as high as he could. He's a big man, hard to get over, but when you just bomb in there willy-nilly, it gives Mackay and these guys every opportunity to spoil it. So hopefully both sides learn from that lesson about kicking the ball inside 50.
Rowan Marshall. 1 goal this season so far. This for his second of the season, and the second of the game. He has missed. 35 out, slight angle to the right. Pushed it left.
Almost becomes contagious, doesn't it?
Yep.
1 goal, 9, plays 6 behinds.
The opening term, the second goalless term of the year from North Melbourne, as they try to work it to the wing. Spoiled away from Zurha, back inside 50 for the Saints. Butler trying to gather. Membry can. He's tackled quickly though. Perez takes him to ground. Umpire will circle and we'll get a ball up. 35 out from the attacking goal here for the Saints.
Silver lining all this, Berkey, it should be a short quarter.
Yeah, we should open the roof at half-time. Might blow the ball through the goals.
Marshall taps it down straight to Clark. Lots of roos get around him. Umpire arms to his chest. He'll ball it up again.
If you didn't know where this was being played, you'd be forgiven for thinking he was at the MCG in wet and soggy conditions.
Casey Fields.
Hand pass out of the stoppage. Steele ends up with it. Just had a spill at the last moment. Now Burns, or his snap is smothered. Nicely worked here by the Roos. Chain of hand passes, and then over the head of Bergman, who wasn't able to gather, but he'll win a free kick for too high. So, chance now for North Melbourne, just to steady a little. Wide kick comes away of Sheasel. Sheasel inboard to Zeeble. Zeeble now to the young man Drury, who's been very impressive on debut so far. Draws the man on the mark. Hand pass to Shields outside of him.
Shields waits a kick towards half forward. Larky drops it, spills out the back to Stevenson. Kick into the pocket is out of bounds on the full. And the Saints to get it back in the back pocket. Taken quickly by Battle, short to Wilkie. Just to be clear, the combined score in this game is 115 between the two sides. St Kilda 1-9-15 is their score. North Melbourne 6 behinds. Long kick to the wing. Massive fly. Spring-heeled Sharman goes up and gets it. Takes a massive hang on the wing. Welcome back to AFL footy. Cooper Sharman. He kicks around the wing and Mackay intercepts the turnover. North to get it back. He'll chip it short.
9 marks for Ben Mackay as well. He has been very prominent across half-back. Short pass finds Sheasel. Sheasel off the outside of the boot that time. And too easy for Stocker, and Drury had every right to look back in a little bit of disgust at his young teammate. Stocker thought about going backwards. Instead bites off the 45. Patton has it. Stocker offered the running option. Ignored. Patton goes back inside his defensive 50 to Wilkie, right back pocket. Further afield to Battle. Patton kept on running. He offered a lead. It was ignored. Wider still to Wanganeen Miller. Right half back. Now to Wood. So Wood still at half back. Saints have moved this in a semicircle. And now Wood, he's called to play on, coming from behind. Curtis did exceptionally well. Shields able to get onto it. Off to Money, snap to Curtis. Curtis inside 50, Zerha through his hands.
There's something on the ball.
He would normally swallow that. Out of bounds, left forward pocket. Get us a goal, man.
It's a little comical at the moment. Forward 50 stoppage for North. Goldstein tries to take it out of the ruck. Spills to Davies Uniacke. Stevenson gang tackled on the gather. Eventually it spits out. Croucher clear and kick for the Saints. High ball, still at halfback. McDonald swirls it down. Filippo, handball over his head towards the wing. Saints getting it forward. Higgins out to Clark. Away now to the run of Hill. Hill goes short inside 50. Caught behind. Sharman has to fist it away. Onto it, Scott. He fumbles. Everyone's got the fumbles. Higgins handball away. There's a whistle. A free kick. It'll go to the Saints and Higgins. I'm not sure what for.
Might have been a high.
Yeah, it might have been just a high one as he was diving the handball forward. Brad Hill, again, should have put that ball out in front of Cooper Sharman. I know he's running flat out, but kicking the ball inside 50, you've got to hit targets.
Giving away more goals than anyone from free kicks, North. Can Higgins make them pay? No, he sprays it out to the left. Doesn't even score, it's fisted away. 1-9-15 St Kilda. North Melbourne 6 behinds. Ross Lyon totally, completely, utterly bereft.
I reckon everyone in this stadium took a side as big as Ross Lyon's there. We go again. Left forward pocket. Cunnington spilt it. Became the tackler on Steele. We got the hand pass away to Higgins. Can he snap a goal? Yes! Finally, we've got our second. Higgins snaps the goal. St Kilda 2-9-21. North Melbourne 6 behinds. 18 minutes played in the second term on Grandstand AFL.
Well, that could be a match-winning lead now, surely. I'll have a know with North people going home just before half-time. No, don't be facetious, but I think that's probably the only way goals are going to come. Just scramble out of nowhere. The first goal was the same thing. it was just a scramble inside forward 50 and Butler threw it on the boot, and that was very similar inside forward 50 and Higgins threw it on the boot. So neither side really using the ball extremely well going forward. It's who can capitalise on the mistakes the best.
Elsewhere, Collingwood by 11 points. 10 minutes into the final term there. Owens in the ruck, rises high, swats it out in the direction of Gresham. Gresham eventually picks it up, hooks it inside, attacking 50 for the Saints. Membry away to Higgins, flying shot on the left. On the run, close to the boundary. Oh, pitches in play. Favourable bounce, but Mackay gets back. Handball errant, allows in Butler for the Saints. Oh, a twist, a spin, a snap and a goal.
Floodgates are open.
The misdirection of the magician of Butler. He finishes on the left, and St Kilda 3-9-27 to 6 behinds. I like how you put it, Berkey. The floodgates might have opened.
The unfortunate thing for the Kangaroos is they've worked so hard, but just haven't been able to get any reward on the scoreboard. And the class that St Kilda have got in their forward half, give them enough opportunity, these ground balls. Their small forwards are going to come into play, and if you get the sense, Berkey, as you said, it's just a matter of time until they start kicking straight.
Yeah, unfortunately, Ben Mackay, who's been very, very good for the Kangaroos so far, just panicked a little bit, and Aaron handball hit the St Kilda player instead of his teammate.
Back in the middle. And doing some nice work was Logue, who got to his feet and able to get rid of it, and he's wrapped up. Let's head downstairs, Jess.
Injury concern for North on the bench. Bailey Scott has just headed into the rooms with a left hand injury. He's just gone down with the doctors to get further assessed.
Thank you, Jess. Now a chance for Burns, who is able to dart inboard, and then a long kick towards Membry. No mark taken. Cordar's the roving. His hand pass to Marnie. Now to McDonald, and McDonald has a couple of options. One of them is Logue, who made the running late. Onto it was Tucker. Hand pass over the top is good to Zerha, and Zerha can burst through the wing. He tries to go over the back. It's a good kick. Oh, wonderful tracking back, Wilkie. Just got the fist in there at the last moment, affected the spoil. Then works the 1-2 by foot with Owens, and then he goes right up the middle. Lovely aggressive kick to Filippo. Off by hand to Hill. Hill gives the hand pass over to Clark, who's mown down. Second run down tackle by Zerha. Turnover in the middle.
Where's the talking there? Two Saints players were looking at him get run down. I don't think either of them said anything, or either that or he ignored them.
Zerha trying to lift his side. He wants to whack it long. Inside attacking 50, looking for Larkey. Battle has a lot of it, doesn't complete the mark. Larkey at ground level. Shields applies the tackle. And the umpire with a quick whistle. We got another ball up. More of your text coming through. We'll get to those when we can. More coming in. And keep them coming. 0437 774 774. Owens up high, swats it straight to Zerha. Has 3 spins in the tackle, gets it out. Filippo though able to receive it. Now Ross, handball away to Patton. He's tackled quickly. Ball jars free. North win it back.
Perez on his left, hugging the boundary line. It pitches in front of Larkey and then out of bounds. Left forward pocket for the Roos. As Pretzel said, for all their hard work, North Melbourne finding themselves down by 21 points. And only a couple of minutes left on the clock in this second quarter. Thrown back into play. Goal here for the North Melbourne Footy Club. Would be precious in these dying moments from the stoppage. Taken in a strong tackle with Zerha. He was going nowhere. And we'll have a ball up from 55 out from North Melbourne's goal.
Certainly couldn't be critical of their application intent, Kangaroos.
Logue, hand pass, Shields, sold a teammate into trouble. It was Simpkin, might have been pushed in the back, he wasn't. Wrapped up, no prior opportunity. Ball up at the top of 50 again.
Umpire puts it up. Logue wins the tap, straight to the awaiting arms of Shields. He falls into the awaiting arms of his opponent Gresham, who tackles him to deck. Do it again. Big leap again from Owens. He gets upstairs as he flicks it down. Straight to Simpkin, who's got the glove on to protect that sore thumb. Another ball up. Owens leaps early. Logue reaches over the top, bounces back to Owens. He's tackled quickly. We'll try once more. 3-9-27, plays 6 behinds. St Kilda lead, not far away from half-time.
Left half forward here for the Roos. Tossed up, diving forward in the tackle was Marnie. Umpire had a call to make. He says, I'll have it. Not in the back.
This is free kick territory here. Get the ball.
A lot of stoppages. Socket out of mid-air. Now a chance here for a couple of North forwards. No one able to get onto it. Ross is there for the Saints. Bursts through a tackle. Sinclair lightning hands to Patton, who heard the voice over the top. It was Clark who took on Zeeble. Beat him. Almost ran out of space. Squeezed the kick out with a left boot. It ends up with Gresham, who kept it moving. And Perez knocks it down and over the boundary line for a throw-in. In between wing and half forward here for the Saints, who have worked it through a chain of hand passes and gaining a bit of territory after it was stoppage galore before. Logue down in front, goes the secondary tap after the ball popped up. Davies Uniacke showing his burst and speed. Hand pass back to Core. Lovely dummy, buys himself a little bit of time, then a high kick. It'll pitch just in front of Taylor. Well, I thought it was going to. Going back with the flight, he took the mark. Now to Stevenson. Stevenson at centre half forward, inside 50, lovely kick. Better transition there from the Roos. And Darcy Tucker will have a shot at goal. 40 out, slight angle to the right.
Great transition. Started with Core at half back, who sold a bit of candy, step inside, buy a bit more time and space, although he spooned the kick. Kangaroos looked constructive there.
So he did mention for all their toil, they probably deserve a little bit of scoreboard reward. Darcy Tucker with that chance late in this second quarter before half-time. Kicks from 40. It was off the instep, never looked like it. Squeezes it in for one behind. That is now 7 in the opening half for North Melbourne. 3-9-27, plays 7 behinds. 20 points the margin after 26 minutes in the second term.
Well, they got 5 seconds to get a goal.
Handball from Howard after receiving the kick in from Sinclair. Back to Sinclair, who moves it out to the wing and Crouch. Handball to Patton as the siren sounds, and it is a goalless half for North Melbourne. St Kilda kicking 2 goals to zip in the second term after 1 goal to none in the opening stanza. 3-9-27. St Kilda lead North Melbourne 7 behinds. We'll have to go to the books to find out the last time North Melbourne were goalless at half-time. I've been scurrying through them, trying to find it. A 20-point advantage to the Saints. The goal kickers, Butler with a couple, Higgins with 1. Brad Sewell, Nathan Burke, what did we see?
Oh, Berkey. Firstly, let's begin with, the pressure and intent by both sides has been really good. You can't be critical of that. And when we spoke about what our expectation was for the Kangaroos today, that's what it was. Regardless of what the scoreboard was going to tell us, so long as we see them having a crack, and that's what they've done. So we can't ask for much more than that. If anything, we're probably critical of St Kilda. They are the better side. They have got much more class. They're much better well drilled and structured, and they have not made the most of their opportunities by any stretch. 3-9 for that first half, and thankfully there's a little bit of class late by 2 of the small forwards, Butler and Higgins, for St Kilda. But besides that, it has been turnover between the arcs. Mackay and Zeeble, particularly in the back half for the Kangaroos. The ball just keeps on getting shoveled down their throat, and Mackay's having a field day.
Yeah, it's a pretty ordinary half of football, to be totally honest. One thing North Melbourne are doing is they're forcing the Saints from the half-back line to actually kick the ball long. Whenever they kick the ball long, very rarely are they maintaining possession. And as I said, Mackay and those guys are doing a really good job there. When they allow them to run and use their hands, they look dangerous, except for when the Saints do that. Their choices going inside 50 have been really poor. For some reason, Tim Membry always wants to get the ball out the back, and he's jumping off 2 feet in the air, and Mackay's just coming over the top or being really strong in front of him. What I want to see from Membry is get deep and come at the footy. Do your work early, get deep, turn around, come at the footy, take a few chest marks. He very rarely comes forward and takes those chest marks, and he's a mobile forward. He's not a big brute who's going to leap over a pack and take a speck. He needs to be coming at the footy. So the forwards need to give the Saints midfielders a different look going inside 50, because what they're doing at the moment isn't actually working. And to be honest, look, Kangaroos have kicked 7 behinds, that's not a total reflection on how they've got the ball forward, because they've actually missed some easy ones. They could easily be 3 goals 4, and we're going, boy, this is a close game going into half-time. You know, Zerha runs an open goal and misses, and we've had guys missing set shots from 30, 35 metres out. Put those through, well, then we're saying, hey, there's only 4 points in it, anyone's game. So the style of play that they're showing, they're getting shots, albeit not a lot. They just need to capitalise on their hard work.
How do you coach it, Berkey? If you're Alistair Clarkson, do you mention it so that everyone's aware of it and try and almost destigmatise the fact that you've kicked 7 behinds, or do you just let it go?
Now, I talk about the process that we use to get the ball in that position to have a shot, not the end result. So, hey, we got a shot, Zerha, you come up the ground and you ran forward. Don't worry about that, but, you know, what you did to get that to run into open goal, let's do that again. So that's what you'd be harping on.
I know Ross Lyon has a philosophy. You don't coach skill on game day because it only draws your attention to it. You're more likely to make a skill error the next time. What was Clarko like around poor kicking days, or in particular poor goal kicking?
Probably not as tolerant from memory. Because there's a part of it you can just put down to almost care and effort sometimes, and on numerous occasions, Larky sticks out in my mind the number of times he's got his hand to the ball and hasn't been able to hold on to it. And who was the other one we spoke about, Ben?
Logue early on.
That's what it was, Logue early on. So whether it's a concentration thing, just those fundamentals, at this level, you should be doing the common things well and doing those fundamentals consistently well. And the pressure's been good. It hasn't been outstanding, and we'd expect a higher level of those basic skills from these players that we're not getting today, which is probably indicative of certainly where the Kangaroos sit, and it might be indicative of sort of the immaturity within this young St Kilda side that's heading in the right direction.
So as it is at half-time, St Kilda 39-27 leading North Melbourne, 7 behinds beneath the roof here at Docklands. It's worth pointing out. We've loved your text. 0437 774 774 is the number. Pato here, checking the sheep after a cold but excellent inch of rain. Great call. Agree with Berkey that if you got in the way of the great plugger, you were putting your life in danger. More Saints goals, please. Good on you, Pato. And John and Jenny from Bacchus Marsh listening to the call on the banks of the Murray River near Barmer. Come on, Saints, kick a few.
Sounds
Lots
nice.
of people out in the regions taking in the call on this wintry Sunday afternoon around a lot of the country, I think, from what I can gather. Some of the other scores earlier today, a 5-point win for Port Adelaide over Essendon. Collingwood are up by 17 late in the game against the Sydney Swans. And then in the NRL, we have, as it stands at the moment, the Cowboys 20-0 late in that match against the Roosters. Earlier, the West Tigers 18-16 over St George Illawarra. Also earlier today, worth mentioning that North Melbourne and Sandringham met in the VFL. So the aligned club for St Kilda being Sandringham, it was the Roos 14-16-100 that defeated Sandringham 4-10-34. So some of the leading ball winners in that game in the finish: Jack Watkins with 31, Aaron Hall, who was omitted, 31, Marcus Windhager with 27, Jack Billings had 22, Dan Howe had 22, Will Phillips with 23. So Taran Thomas as well, a lot of interest around him. He had 18 disposals for the Roos. Okay, half-time. Saints leading by 20 points. Let's pause and get the latest from the ABC newsroom.
Hello, this is ABC News with David Rowlands. More than 5 million households will receive up to $500 in power bill relief in next Tuesday's federal budget. Treasurer Jim Chalmers has told the ABC that households will receive several $100s depending on where they live, in arrangements struck with state and territory governments. Mr Chalmers says the $1.5 billion package will be part of a broader suite of supports.
Well, this will be a responsible budget for Australians who are doing it tough. And central to that, probably the centrepiece of the budget, will be a cost of living package, which is broader than what has been speculated on, but which applies to more than one age cohort.
Victorian Premier Daniel Andrews has strongly denied reports the government will be raiding $1 billion from the Transport Accident Commission in this month's state budget. He says the budget is yet to be delivered, and while people are free to speculate, it's not productive.
That reporting is frankly wrong to try and give people a sense that there's cuts or there's less effort from the TAC. That's just wrong. That's just simply wrong. We laid out a plan in our document, in our policy document, that Victorians so resoundingly voted for at the last election, and we will do nothing but deliver that.
And with Victoria's state budget day nearing, state opposition leader John Pasuto says he's seeing a level of financial delinquency by the Andrews government.
We're expecting a horror budget that will see agencies raided, like the TAC. The government isn't up for listening anymore. Power has been centralised around Daniel Andrews and his office. There is no listening to anybody in this government, and we're concerned about that.
A man has killed 8 people in the latest mass shooting in the United States. Larry Buttrose reports.
The shooting occurred in a shopping mall in the suburbs of the city of Dallas in Texas. A man stepped out of a car and began shooting randomly at shoppers before he was shot and killed by a police officer there on an unrelated matter. The non-profit Gun Violence Archive says it's the 199th mass shooting in the US this year alone. Barely a week ago, also in Texas, a man shot dead 5 people after a neighbour asked him to stop firing his weapon while a baby slept. So far, gun reform in the US has been minimal, with the powerful National Rifle Association opposing substantive change.
The United Nations Children's Agency, UNICEF, says more than 1 million polio vaccine doses intended for children have been destroyed in the current conflict in Sudan. It says cold chain facilities have been looted, damaged and destroyed, leading to the loss of the vaccine doses. The Sudanese army and its rival paramilitary force are currently involved in talks in Saudi Arabia that organisers hope will result in a ceasefire. Some Sydney-siders have turned out to celebrate the coronation of King Charles III with a concert at New South Wales Government House. Danuta Kazaki has the story.
The New South Wales Corrective Services Big Band put on a special concert today for the coronation celebrations as members of the public walked through the gardens of Government House earlier today. A special display honouring the newly crowned monarch was on view. One visitor, Christine, says she supports King Charles.
And I think he's doing a great job, and I think he's going to be a wonderful king. I really do.
Meanwhile, the Australian Monarchist League has criticised the New South Wales government for not lighting up the Sydney Opera House last night in honour of King Charles, saying it was an arbitrary decision given the Opera House is commonly lit for other events.
Darwin police have issued a warning to all organised criminal networks after a major drug bust in the city. The cross-border operation netted cocaine valued at $1.5 million, as Sally Boothroyd reports.
Northern Territory Police say they began monitoring the movements of a 41-year-old man after a tip-off from New South Wales Police and observed him bury an empty drum in bushland near Darwin CBD in late April. It's alleged the man later returned to the drum with 3.5 kilograms of cocaine and more than $100,000 in cash. He was arrested the following morning, and on the same day police searched a property in Darwin's rural area, seizing more drugs and cash and arresting a second man. Both men will face court in Darwin on Monday.
And in AFL, Port Adelaide has come from behind to beat Essendon by 5 points and record its 5th consecutive victory. The Bombers led in the opening half through accurate kicking, but the power lifted to win 12 goals 20-92 to the Bombers 13-9-87. Bombers defender Jordan Ridley was subbed off with concussion after an off-the-ball hit by Junior Rioli that could be scrutinised by the match review officer.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
Well, Patrick, to put it succinctly, it's the cult of Gillon McLaughlin.
They advanced from the Kings to King James in a series that has all of us making it appointment viewing.
You look at the Gabba, they haven't even put a shovel in the ground yet, and it's already almost 3 times as much as what the original quote was.
Old each-way Middlemass. Enjoy the weekend action, mate. It's a daily sports conversation, and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Long kick to the wing. Massive fly. Spring-heeled Sharman goes up and gets it. Takes a massive hang on the wing. Welcome back to AFL footy. Cooper Sharman.
Cunnington spilt it, became the tackler on Steele. He got the hand pass away to Higgins. Can he snap and goal? Yes! Finally, we've got our second. Higgins snaps the goal.
Favourable bounce from Mackay gets back. Handball errant allows in Butler for the Saints. Oh, a twist, a spin, a snap and a goal. Floodgates are open. The misdirection of the magician of Butler as the siren sounds, and it is a goalless half for North Melbourne.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So just the 3 goals in the opening half, all of them going to St Kilda, 3-9, 27-7 behinds for North Melbourne here on Grandstand AFL. What can Alistair Clarkson look to do? Nathan Burke.
Look, I think his game plan in terms of increasing the intent of the players has been better. We mentioned at the start, before the game started, that potentially their effort over the last few weeks hasn't been great, and people have been questioning that. I don't think you can question their effort at all today. They're certainly having a crack. They're tackling. I think their tackle numbers are in front of the Saints. 41. The Saints actually winning the tackle numbers, which is a strange 41-23. But I think their intent is way up there. Their structure around the ball is pretty good in that they're forcing the Saints to kick the ball long, which is not what they want to do. They don't necessarily have the big, tall, key marking targets up forward to take advantage of that style of play. So they're taking something away from the Saints. They're just not capitalising at the other end. I think they look dangerous when they do take a few risks with the football. We saw once there, I think it was Core, ran around a player in the half-back line, brought the ball into the centre corridor. That ball ended up with Stevenson, ended up with a shot on goal from 30 metres out. That's the sort of play that North Melbourne need to do. So if I'm Clarko, I'm saying great, the intent's really good. Our defensive structures are pretty good. One thing that we can improve on is how we move the ball and just take a few more risks with the footy, bring the ball back through the corridor, get the run past, see if we can get the ball into an open forward line where give our faster forwards opportunities to win the ball.
Yeah, I'd be asking for the forwards just to keep their pressure up as well. Try and lock the ball and get some repeat stoppages. And some of those tackles that Zerha's been able to stamp himself on the game with have been really important. And I mean, that's a challenge for a young, immature side to play 4 quarters of that type of football, because when that drops away, that's when we'd expect the Saints to really do some damage on the scoreboard.
Just some breaking news as it is at the moment. Chris Fagan has released a statement today, just a very short time ago, saying, "I wish to address the recent articles published in the Herald Sun concerning a potential mediation in relation to the Hawthorn investigation commissioned by the AFL. The articles contain a number of inaccurate and highly inappropriate comments. I do not intend to address all of these matters, but in the interests of defending myself, I wish to correct the record concerning some of these matters." On 1st of May 2023, it was reported by John Ralph of the Herald Sun that I was unwilling to participate in mediation. This is wrong. I have never said that I would not participate in mediation. On the 5th of May 2023, an article authored by Mark Robinson was published on the Herald Sun website. Among other things, the article suggested that a lawyer for various complainants in the Hawthorn investigation, Leon Zwire, has put in place 18 demands of me, Alistair Clarkson and Jason Burt, as conditions of a potential mediation. No such demands have ever been communicated to me or to my lawyers. It would be a matter of concern to me if the report concerning these demands is accurate, as my understanding is that it would be completely contrary to normal practice concerning mediation for any party or his or her lawyer to make demands of this kind as a condition of the mediation being held. It goes on, but essentially that is the crux of it as it stands at the moment. There is a longer statement from Chris Fagan, which I'm sure you'll be able to find online later today. So that's an absolute mess at the moment.
It sounds like he's had enough. Like, I've had enough. Stop writing articles. Stop supposition. And if you're going to write about it, at least write the facts.
It's hard to see an end in sight.
Yeah, it's a really tricky situation, of course. One of the coaches at the moment involved in this game, Alistair Clarkson, coaching as we stand at the moment. And Chris Fagan with the Brisbane Lions humming at the moment has that still to deal with.
Final score at the MCG, Collingwood 11-11-77 have defeated the Swans 6-12-48. Brodie Myercheck kicking 5, including a goal of the year contender. Soccer style, on the goal line, overhead kick. So it was a fair effort. The first time in his career he's ever kicked 5 goals. So probably goes to show the evenness of that Collingwood side. But another win for the Pies, and they will head back up to the top of the ladder.
What can we expect in the second half, gents?
I expect... Oh, gosh, I don't know.
Hopefully better.
I think it'll get better, but not for the Kangaroos. I think I expect the Saints polish. I mean, they're clearly better sides than Kilda, and they just need to keep this pressure up, of which the Kangaroos will not be able to sustain, and that's when they're going to get a lot more looks inside 50, and they need to capitalise. These are the types of games for St Kilda that they need to practice their discipline, their structures, their patterns, their routines, and really hit the scoreboard heavily. Now, they've had the opportunities 3-9, but they haven't made the most of those, Bergie.
No, they haven't. So, I think Ross would have really reshaped the way that they want to play, focused in on some real key points that they need to hit. I think one of those is certainly that the ball use going inside 50. Need to really sharpen that up.
So all the players in position for their second half of football. A goalless first half from North Melbourne. 7 behind St Kilda, 3-9-27. The second half about to get underway. You're with Andrew Mays here on Grandstand AFL.
We've reset and we'll go again. Marshall leapt high but missed the ball. Goldstein down to Davies Uniacke, who tried to burst through a couple of tackles, couldn't do so, holding the ball. Sinclair, high kick, inside 50. Where are the Flyers? A couple on that occasion, although Sheasel was first to recover. Hand pass over the top to Perez, who had a fumble at the wrong moment. Then he was taken in a tackle and lend up a ball up 30 out directly in front.
Sinclair happy to get that in quickly and deep to St Kilda forward line. Bring it to get ground, let the small forwards go to work.
Goldstein was looking for Cunnington. Gresham burst through, just got the ball away. Socket away from Steele. Now a chance as Higgins intercepts. Sharman into the pocket, was looking for a hand pass, and then Sinclair just blindly hand passed at the top of the goal square. Oh, Aidan Corr had his kick smothered from 5 metres out. Luckily he's able to force through a behind on the ricochet. 7 behinds North Melbourne, 3 goals 10. St Kilda, 21-point lead after a minute in the third quarter.
Zeeble brings it in. Short to the pocket, McDonald can mark. Still that stifled ball movement here from the Roos. Short again to Tucker. Searching for their first goal. Tucker will kick towards the wing. Battle goes up. Through his hands it slips out the back. Wilkie's there for the Saints. Handball back to Ross on the logo. Handball looking for Steele, who have time to recover it. Gets it off to Burns. Wanganeen Millero receives the handball, kicks out towards the wing, and Sharman, who took a massive hanger in the first half, has it on the wing.
Kick over the top, Burns has run hard and he ends up on the end of this, kicks into the pocket, and it's almost landed in the front row. Out of bounds on the foot, poor entry there from a man who's had a much improved season.
He's up to 16 possessions now, Ryan Burns, working extremely hard. That's the most for the Saints. It's just that last little tiny bit of polish that he needs to fix up.
Zeeble with the free kick and his 23rd possession of the afternoon. Hugs the boundary line. That's a good mark in front by Drury. He's been one of the positives for North Melbourne. Shown a couple of good signs, the youngster on debut this afternoon. Kick up the line, looking for Larkey. He was between 3 Saints, at least worked the ball to ground. Rove by Simpkin, hand pass to Davies Uniacke, who fires the ball forward. Zerha trying to get out the back. He's taken in a tackle, dispossessed. Saints have numbers, battle. will gather just before the boundary line. His kick went 3 metres to Hill, but it'll work. Chain of hand passes ends up with Hill, but it was intercepted by Sheasel, who goes inside 50. Lovely kick, finds Larkey, and he can line up from 35 out, slight angle to the right.
Sheasel read it beautifully. Just picked the handball off mid-air, and this is a bit of class that we haven't seen too much of from the Kangaroos. Larkey holding on to that one. Nice kick by Sheasel. Has to finish here.
If you've just joined us, we're 3 minutes into the third quarter, and North Melbourne are yet to register a goal. But they're still in this game. 21 points the margin, 7 behinds. Can this be the first of the afternoon? Larkey comes in, and the fans are celebrating. North Melbourne with their first. It's taken 2 quarters and 3 minutes, but they're there. And maybe this can start a run. 1 goal, 7-13, 3-10-28. The Saints, 15 points the margin. Berkey.
Well, it took a bit of outstanding anticipation and skill from Harry Sheasel to set up that goal. The Saints were having a chain of handballs coming out of their half-back line close to the boundary line, had the overlap runners, and Sheasel was just smart enough to realise, I know where the ball's going, I'm going to get there first. Athletic ability to jump up in the air, but then have the composure to understand that Larkey was all by himself inside 50 and hit him right on the chest. So Larkey finished off, but Harry Sheasel, outstanding performance.
Clark having a bit of a laugh on the bench with the boys too, so the irony isn't lost on the Kangaroos.
Back in the middle. Marshall knocks it down, Steele knocks it on, then goes and gathers it. Handball back to Wood, to Crouch. Now the Saints go forward. Run and carry, long kick inside 50. Looking for Owens, fisted away by Zeeble. Sheasel roves. Core snaps out towards the boundary. Will it be deliberate? The umpire says yes. So the Saints to get it back through Wood. He'll come infield with his kick. Short to Stocker. Stocker will look long, kick smothered. Well done by Curtis. Mount spills out to Wood, gathers again for the Saints. Handball to Steele. Handball back to Stocker, kick into the pocket, looking for Membry. And Membry goes up and takes it.
Oh, hallelujah for Saints supporters. Actually had somebody lead at the kicker. Even the one prior when the Crouch was coming streaming through the middle, all Saints forwards virtually stood there and expected the long kick to come in. They've got to start leading and make Zeeble and these guys accountable. It's not their strong suit.
It's what you wanted with Membry at half-time from Berkey, and we saw him come at the footy there. Membry trots in, boot to ball from 48. The drop punt is away to the left. It'll go right to the line and be fisted through. So another behind. 3-11 St Kilda, 3-11-29. North Melbourne 1-7-13. 6 minutes into this third term.
Zeeble with another mark, receives it in the left back pocket, then a long kick looking for Logue, couldn't get his arm free. Now there's a whistle, and it is Logue's free kick. Being held in that marking contest. Logue at left half back. Directed to go forward from Zeeble. And Goldstein just worked Marshall beautifully underneath that, out wide, and then a kick from Tucker inside 50. One-on-one, Larkey's got it out the back. Worked Howard underneath the ball, propelled himself off his opponent and took the mark as he was diving towards the ground.
Strong mark by Goldstein. Quick handball to Tucker, who's running outside, who then kicks the advantage to Larkey over the back. It's a cleaner passage of play. The second one this quarter, arguably, that we've seen for the entire game.
For his second, within 3 minutes, Nick Larkey, 15 out. Left forward pocket, kicks his second. The North are back in this. Margin back to 10 points. 2-7-19 placed 3-11-29. We've ticked over 7 minutes in this third quarter on Grandstand AFL.
I'm watching Tony Brown, the ex-St Kilda player, who's the runner for the Saints, and where he's heading. And he did run into Rowan Marshall's vicinity because big fella Rowan Marshall, you cannot just get pushed off the ball that easily in a marking contest and allow the ball to get pushed into North Melbourne's forward line. That's just soft play from a big fella, and I know Ross Lyon and his smaller players will expect far better effort and performance from Rowan Marshall, who was outmarked by Goldstein.
Like the enthusiasm from Larky as well, really trying to generate some forward excitement.
Welcome to those of you joining us from Collingwood and Sydney. Great to have you with us. It's a 10-point lead the way of the Saints over North Melbourne. North Melbourne goalless in the first half. Yes, goalless. They'd kicked 7 behinds, but they've kicked the opening 2 goals of their second half to bring it back to just 10 points as the Saints go out of the middle. The kick inside 50, and there'll be a free kick going the way of North. So St Kilda...
Saints.
Oh, sorry, the Saints are going to get the free kick. It's going to go to Owens. It was downfield.
Yeah, Gresham kicked it, and I think it might have been a bit rusty. Scott pushed him as he kicked it, but he pushed him into a North Melbourne player.
So Owens to get the kick. They were jumped coming out of half-time. Were St Kilda. Owens looking to respond. His drop punt is away to the right. St Kilda, if you've just joined us from Collingwood and Sydney, a 3-12-30. North Melbourne 2-7-19. We've played nearly 9 minutes in the third term.
Zeeble, hand pass out of defence. Over to McDonald. McDonald, a long kick to the wing. Taylor's got to beat 3. Did well to become the spoiler. Low, just socked forward by Shields, although it's All Saints there. Battle has it, decides to just bash it forward. Zeeble, third man up, didn't affect the contest aerially. At ground level, it's McDonald who's taken in a strong tackle. Ball held to him, will have their stoppage. Right half forward for the Saints. They lead it by 11 points, 9 minutes played, third quarter.
Puts it aloft. Goldstein knocks it down. Ricochets back to Hunter Clark. He loses it. Shields comes up with it for North. Handball to McDonald. Handball away to Taylor, who kicks towards the wing. Bouncing ball. Sits for Logue. North with it on the wing. Forward handball to the run of Davies Uniacke. Bursts away from them. Handball to Simpkin. Handball to Marnie. Breaks the 50. Chips it short. Finds his target. And Zurhaar marks. Well worked by North. Down this dockside wing, and Zurhaar needs to finish it.
Well done by Luke Davies Uniacke as well. He could have actually just blasted the ball away, but he ran and forced others to run with him, and that got the ball inside 50 with a chain of handball rather than just a big kick.
In the first half, North couldn't score, and this is a shocking kick from Zurhaar, keeping with that theme. Well right. Like a flour bag out on the full. And St Kilda will get it back. They lead by 11.
That was your classic helicopter.
Absolutely.
Off the shin.
Marshall now held to him. He couldn't get a hand pass away, and we'll have a stoppage right half forward for the Roos. Their enthusiasm and energy hasn't wavered at all, though, despite their poor kicking this afternoon. Marshall grabs it out of the ruck, just got a toe to it. Cunnington onto it, he's tackled immediately. Ball up, still at right half forward.
And that's the exciting thing about the Kangaroos. I'm sure Clark has something he was impressing at half time. Just keep that energy up because it can turn really quickly. 2 straight kicks in it.
Goldstein down, but it's shucked by Hill. Patton coming off half-back, receives the hand pass, snaps it forward. Big fist by Zeeble. He almost could have marked it in the end. He didn't get the ricochet, but nice little chip over the top from Tucker to Shields, who deliver inside 50. It is Larky again. Big fist from Howard that time, outside of defensive 50. Zurhaar's there, though. Flings the handball out to Shields, who's decided to pull the trigger, doesn't have the distance. And it is all St Kilda in the defensive goal square as Battle has it. Oh, he takes on the man. What was he doing? No, it's 50 metres.
50 before then.
Right.
Ben Cunnington just for 4 possessions so far in this game, so expect a lift from him, just a 1 kick, 3 handballs.
Battle moves it on quickly, out towards the wing. Big fly coming from Marshall, down in front. Burns is there to rove, handball to Hill, tackled, dispossessed in the tackle of Zurhaar. Spills out to Stevenson. Roos take the advantage. Zurhaar runs straight into Wilkie, eventually gets free, but not before he's called holding the ball. The battle of the 44s, and Wilkie gets it back. This game's come to life.
It's gone from chocolates to boiled lollies there.
Stocker, chip over the top, finds Clark. Clark now to steal with a long kick to right half forward. And that is a mark and close to 50. Burns has it, didn't go behind his mark, was able to give it to Wood. Wood running past, kick to the goal square. Couple of Saints there. One is Butler and the other Owens. Owens keeps it in, smashes it back over his head. Goldstein there to do the mopping up for North Melbourne. Hand pass now to Tucker. Tucker tries to get through 3 tackles, couldn't do so. Good palm off to get rid of one opponent, but then 2 Saints jumped on him. And this will be a well-earned free kick, Owens, to be rewarded.
Good pressure by the Saints, and well done by Owens keeping it in initially, keeping that ball live, and then the cavalry arrived.
28 inside 50s apiece, 2 goals, 7 plays, 3 goals, 12. Margin 11 points. St Kilda have not kicked a goal, and that is 50. This means it will be a certain goal. Nice. Their first of the third term.
I think Simpkin was just having a push and shove with Philippou and just went high.
And Owens bangs it into the second deck. And that's an easy one for the Saints. That will not please North Melbourne's coaching staff. And the margin back out to 17 points in favour of the Saints.
Yeah, I think that's all it was. They were just having a bit of push and shove, a little bit of arms going, and must have gone just a little bit high. The umpire's seen it and gone 50 metres.
You should know better than that, Simpkin. One of their leaders. Goals have been so hard to come by, and they've just absolutely gifted the Saints one there.
Match review notes are in. Brad Close offered a 1-match ban for rough conduct on Jordan Dawson, and Jacob Van Rooyen a 2-match ban for striking on Charlie Ballard.
Striking? I wasn't said it was striking.
You think it's a football act, Berkey?
No, it's not a strike. A strike is a punch. There's no punch.
Saints out of the middle. Philippou, handball away to Crouch. Sinclair breaking the 50, bursting on goal and kicking it. The All-Australian shows us why. A little touch of class on a day it's been lacking. 5-12-42, plays 2-7-19. St Kilda kick away at the quarter-hour mark of the third term.
Sinclair, he's been one of the Saints' best all year so far. He's up to 16 possessions so far today. Put him into the middle now, and that's where I think he does his best work. He is a great coming off that half-back line, very, very steadying for the Saints, reads the play really well, but I tend to think when they're in a little bit of strife, I think he's a secret weapon for Ross, and they throw him into the middle, and he always delivers.
Any momentum that North Melbourne had has completely evaporated. 2 in a row for the Saints, and they're going again still. A high kick will reach half forward. No mark taken by Philippou. At ground level, Butler did well. Hand pass to Steele, who kept on running. High kick to the top of 50. Zeeble, was it a push in the back? Yes. He's given it away.
Genuine one-on-one aerial contest. He looks uncomfortable, Zeeble.
Sharman has it. He goes to centre half forward. Clark can almost pull the trigger. Thought about playing on. Instead, he goes back to the top of his mark. I reckon he's got the journey here, Hunter Clark. So the mark has been set just inside attacking 50. He's not going to have a shot. Instead, a low kick. And oh, how easy is that? Higgins popped up, probably the smallest in that entire pack, and took the easiest of uncontested marks.
And if not Higgins, he had Marshall right behind him, who provided a subtle block. Otherwise, he would have swallowed it himself. Kangaroos, this is a dangerous period here for the Kangaroos. Since Simpkin gave that 50 away, they've just gone to sleep a little bit.
Higgins, 20 out, directly in front, misses. Jeez. Pulled that badly to the left.
That's a shocking kicking style.
5 goals, 13, plays 2 goals, 7, 24 points the margin.
Zeeble, a little 1-2 with Sheasel from the kick in, then short to Scott. Roos at halfback, running by Core, receives the handball, feeds it around the line to McDonald. He'll kick high towards half forward, trying to get it to Stevenson. Wilkie's fist goes through it for the Saints. Getting involved, Owens, loose footy. Cunnington picks it up, extracts it to Zurha, looking for Larkey. And he takes the mark, 30 out directly in front. And I think doing a pretty good job was Curtis Taylor just to allow him to take the mark.
Clear intent this quarter from the Kangaroos has been from 80 to 75 out. They've just gone blindly and just turned and got it in, and Larky's presented and given them something to kick to.
He's kicked both of the Roos goal. He comes in. He's a one-man band up forward for the Roos. He's got 3, as do they. They're 3-7-25. St Kilda 5-13-43 at the 18-minute mark of the third term on Grandstand AFL. Ben Cameron, Andrew Mays, Jess Webster downstairs, Nathan Burke and Brad Saul with us, our experts.
Well, how often do you see that? You miss an easy one at one end and it goes bang straight down the other end, and the other team kick one from pretty much the exact same spot. But what I've liked about Larky in this quarter, one, they're kicking the ball in there better, but I reckon he's probably moved more in this quarter than what he did in that first half in terms of actually leading, coming at the footy, working up the ground, sprinting back inside 50. He's a forward who needs to rely on work rate just as much as stretching those big arms up.
Poor bounce in the middle. This will be recalled. 3 goals, 1 for Nick Larky this afternoon. 19 now for the season. Ball tossed up this time. Marshall, the 219s go at it against Logue. Marshall won it down. Davies Uniacke sharked the tap. Then he was caught. Umpire says, I'll have it. Still inside the centre square. So an important stage of this game. 19 played. Third quarter. It's an 18-point advantage for the Saints, and this is going to be holding the ball underneath. So another chance here for North Melbourne. Hand pass quickly from Shields to Sheasel. High kick inside 50. Larky trying to get back. At the back of the pack, a couple of spoils come. Sinclair roved, but this kick is coming back. The dump kick lands on the chest of Bergman.
Bergman a little unsure. He'll wheel around and set it up towards the pocket. Wanganeen Millera comes in from the side. Has a lot of it. Mark not paid. Davies Uniacke. He's taken to ground. Ball up. 15 out from North's goal. Saints lead by 18. Ball up top of the goal square. Marshall flicks it down. Comes out in the hands of Shields, who snaps on goal. The umpire with a quick whistle had already said, I want to ball it up again. We'll try once more. 18 points. Saints lead, as I said.
Thrown up at the top of the square. Marshall over the top. Won the tap and then won the clearance. He's poking kick out. Lovely half volley by Higgins. Beautiful hands to Butler, to Steele. Lovely looping hand pass over the top. Now Philippo's away. 2 bounces through the middle. He gets to 55. Launches towards goal. It pitches and took a good bounce, but not quite enough. One behind. One end of the ground to the other like that.
Great to see. He's all arms and legs, isn't he?
What about the big left footer? Bounces it right-handed.
Yeah. It's the opposite of Robert Harvey style.
Yeah.
5-14-44, plays 3-7-25 after 20 minutes. Saints with a 19-point advantage.
I don't think I'd seen him on the burst like that. Perez with the kick in, long to the wing. Goldie goes upstairs and takes a nice mark. Gives it off to Davies Uniacke, who kicks it straight to Wanganeen Millera. St Kilda get it back in the middle of the ground.
Yeah, 2-on-2 inside 50 then. Try to invent something a little bit. Should have just gone long.
Wanganeen Millera, his kick nearly chopped off by Luke Davies Uniacke, who then gives away a holding free kick on Clark. Saints with it. He kicks into the middle of the ground.
Stocker has it. He kicks inside 50. Coming from 2 deep was Filippo. Almost took the mark. At least crashed the pack. Chance for the Crummers to get to work. Sheasel there, though, for the Roos. He just wanted it more than anyone else. His hand pass, though, sold Marnie into trouble. Dropped the ball immediately. Knocked out of his hands. Back under a couple of sets of feet. And Cunnington ensured that was going nowhere. So ball up it will be at the top of attacking 50 for St Kilda. Goldstein and Marshall to go at it again. Marshall with strength that time. Grabs it out of the ruck. Kicks inside 50. Mackay going back with a flight ball, his own man. Although is it a free kick? It is. Front on contact and Mackay will take it. Or in fact it'll be Perez who will take it from the top of his defensive goal square.
St Kilda by 19.
Not sure exactly what that free kick was for.
Short to Core, who kicks out towards the city wing, and Wilkie again able to intercept Mark. Boy, what a find he's been. 92 consecutive games since his debut. Kicks the Saints towards half forward. Crouch can't mark. Now follows up at ground level. Higgins, handball away to Hill. Wheels and kicks St Kilda to full forward. Sharman marks on his chest. He was in an acre of space. Berkey could see it coming. And 15 out, he's got it, and will go back and kick for goals.
I was actually hoping that the kick would be plopped up a little bit higher and we can get to see another one of those speckies, but as it turned out, just ran into a hole and took a chest mark. Right on by Wangan and Milero there. Just didn't blaze away, put the ball to a really dangerous spot, and let his young fella, get in the right spot. Now he just needs to finish.
Took a massive hang-up in the first half. First game of the year. First goal of the year for Cooper Sharman. And St Kilda have the answers again. 6-14-50. They lead North Melbourne 3-7-25. 23 and a half into the third term.
Saints just stretching away. We're seeing glimpses of their class coming through here now. And Hilly just with a little bit of time and space allowed to roll around and put that ball into an area we haven't seen either side pepper too much. Directly in front, 15 metres out.
Big Max King due to come back in probably potentially as soon as next week. There's going to be a forward line spot opening up. Mitch Owens will be there. Philippu's a young gun. Tim Membry's only had the 6 possessions and the one behind compared to Sharman's 12 and 1 goal too. Could be out of those two really.
Goldstein out of the ruck looking for Simpkin. It bounced off his shoe though, back inside defensive 50 for the Roos. Perez tracking it back. Oh, he was nervous in the end. Burns squeezes out a kick all the way to the goal line. Well done by Bergman to get back and force the rush behind. 6-15-51, plays 3-7-25, 26-point advantage for the Saints. Closing stages of the third term.
Zeeble again with the kick in, short to the pocket. And Bergman marks, who then chips it short, and Scott able to take the mark. Still inside their defensive arc here, North. Short to Bergman again. Bergman a little unsure where to go. Zeeble had 13 marks before half-time. The kick from Bergman out towards Paul Curtis, who lands on his back, and he's okay in the end. He's only up to 14 now, Zeeble. We thought we might be on track for a record. So Curtis with it at left half back. Puts his left foot through it towards Goldstein and Logue. Off hands out the back. Crouch there for the Saints. Gathers the footy. Handball to Sinclair. Stops, props, kicks neatly. Owens marks on the logo.
He was looking for a hand pass, but no one's on the mark, so he turned and went straight away. Butler pushes off his opponent. Should have taken the mark. Spilled at the last moment. Top of 50 here. Hand pass to Membry, who pokes it inside 50 on his left boot. But Core had that wrapped up as he saw it, and his opponent standing next to him was Higgins. Big height advantage, and Core took the mark. Core across his defensive goal square. It's Perez. Hand pass back to the running Core. Now a little undecided where to go. Just gives it to McDonald. McDonald, short chip out wide to Sheasel, who just wants to slow things down. The youngster showing his maturity. Long kick towards Goldie from 3 deep. Another good fly and another good mark. Needed that North Melbourne to steady things. He chips inboard and finds McDonald.
McDonald moves it back to Core, who kicks laterally to Zeeble. Roos have done a lot of this today. Mark number 15 for Zeeble. Chips it short to Scott, looking for Curtis leading up. Can't mark under pressure. Spills and eventually goes out. And a throw in on the wing.
Good pressure by Dan, but I like when players don't concede those short ones. Far too often they do. It just relieves the pressure on the kicker. But get right on their backside, spoil the ball. Now it's a stoppage on the wing rather than inside North Melbourne's forward 50.
Laying it down, Marshall from the throw-in, picking it up, Zerha. Bullocking through them, kicks to half forward. Cunnington marks, tacking edge of the square, gives it off to Taylor running by. It's knocked down in the end by Stocker. who floats a kick into the middle for the Saints.
Dicey hand pass from Crouch, sold. Clark under pressure, rode the tackle well, released it at the right time to Sinclair, who gave it to Crouch, could have been caught for holding the ball, just got the hand pass away. Call there to mop up, he's tackled immediately, and we'll have a ball up.
Well done by Scott there for North Melbourne. He was outstanding in his harassing and keeping that ball inside the centre square.
Knocked down to the advantage of Steele, hoists a high ball to the top of the square. Membry got to it, didn't take the mark. Zeeble turned tackler. Higgins just got the hand pass away. Membry goes to work now. He's tackled by McDonald. The ball up it'll be. 20 out directly in front.
Sinclair's been important for the Saints off the back of the stoppage, just his energy and busyness around the ball. 1-2s, creating movement in front of him.
Umpire puts it up. Goldstein decisively with the tap. Marnie with the clearance. Off the outside of the boot towards the boundary. Wanganeen Miller up. Will track it, gather. Saints back with it. Handball to Wilkie, to Hill. Kick inside, attacking 50. Looking for a marker. Membry jumps. Can't mark. Higgins gets it at ground level. Tackled quickly. And a ball up. 30 out. North Melbourne goalless at half-time. Sir Swamp Thing on Twitter. It was the first time today since round 12, 1979 against Essendon that North were goalless at half-time.
From the stoppage, Steele almost got his boot to ball. Got the hand pass though to Burns. Flying shot towards goal. Misses everything. The dribble's out of bounds. Luke McDonald asks for deliberate. Don't think he was going to be rewarded on that occasion. Ball to be thrown back in next to the right behind post. Chance deep inside attacking 50. 37 seconds left on the clock here, so got to get to work quickly from this stoppage, the Saints. Saints out the back. Now Scott a hand pass. Space more than anything. Zerha's there. Boundary line will be his and Davies Uniacke's friend, and we'll have another ball in, still inside attacking 50.
Sorry, Maisie. 6:15:51 plays. 3:7:25. 26 points. The Saints advantage. Umpire spins it back in. Marshall takes it out of the ruck. He's tackled down. Spills out towards Crouch. Crouch gets a handball away to Clark. Oh, that's a throw. Umpire doesn't pay it, lets them play. Sheezer will go after the footy. He'll gather on the bounce, get it on the left. Kick north forward of the wing. Wilkie, misreads it for once. Out the back it goes. And onto it is Patton to Wanganeen Miller to Hill. He'll stop and prop and kick St Kilda into the middle. And that will be three-quarter time. 3 goals apiece in the third term. And St Kilda at three-quarter time, 6:15:51 will lead North Melbourne 3:7:25. The goal kickers for Butler a couple. Owens, Higgins, Sinclair and Sharman singles. Larkey, the only goal kicker for North, he has 3. The first goalless first half since 1979 for North Melbourne in this match. This is Grandstand AFL.
Why get your news from the ABC News app?
Well, it's part of my daily routine.
I check it on my phone when I stop for a break.
I can focus on local, national, or world news. It's my choice.
I get an alert when something new comes in.
Love the live blogs. Follow them all day.
There's more than just headline stories, you know.
It's news that makes a difference.
Why do I get my news from the ABC News app?
I trust it.
I trust ABC News Online.
And it's free.
It's free.
For free news you can trust, download the ABC News app. Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Chain of hand passes ends up with Hill, but it was intercepted by Sheezel, who goes inside 50. Lovely kick, finds Larkey, and he can line up from 35 out, slight angle to the right. Larkey comes in, and the fans are celebrating. North Melbourne with their first. It's taken 2 quarters and 3 minutes, but they're there.
Saints out of the middle. Filippo, handball away to Crouch. Sinclair breaking the 50, bursting on goal and kicking it. The All-Australian shows us why. A little touch on class on a day it's been lacking. Extracts it to Zerha, looking for Larkey. And he takes the mark, 30 out directly in front. He's kicked both of the Roos goal. He comes in. He's a one-man band. Up forward for the Roos. He's got 3, as do they. Higgins, handball away to Hill. Wheels and kicks St Kilda to full forward. Sharman marks on his chest. He was in an acre of space. Berkey could see it coming. First game of the year. First goal of the year for Cooper Sharman. And St Kilda have the answers again.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
And now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
So St Kilda leading by 26 points. The final change, 6:15:51, plays 3-7-25. Lockie from Footscray says, just loving the ABC app stream. The Roos will win this game. Is Sheasel still the fave for Rising Star? That was a little earlier in Lockie's defence. You can text us on 0437 774 774. Just repeating before we get onto the game, Brad Close offered one match for a rough conduct on Jordan Dawson, and Jacob Van Rooyen 2 weeks for striking on Charlie Ballard. Now, you formerly sat in the chair of when it was the MRP, before it was the MRO. Nathan Burke, you don't agree with that, do you?
I don't think it was a strike. It was rough conduct, if anything. That's what you get him for, and it's certainly not deliberate. It's what's the word for accidental that they use?
Careless.
Careless. To me, it was careless, rough conduct. He was within his rights to go back and try and spoil that ball, but striking to me is an unusual charge. I thought potentially that they might have sort of conflagrated the charges to get him straight to the tribunal so he can argue it. Because to be totally honest, what they do sometimes is they say, you know what, we're not sure on this one. We're not sure whether we're being hard on the player. So what we'll do is we'll upgrade it and give them an opportunity to say their piece and explain themselves. I thought that might have been one of these cases, because there certainly is there an explanation there for the player.
All right, we might discuss that a little more after the game today. What did you make of that third term from these respective sides?
Kangaroos look much better. Just their intent, I think, as I said during the call, their intent from about 80 metres out just to play on, move the ball quickly. Goldie on a couple of occasions was the impetus for that. Larky presented really well, and Berkey, you made the observation that when he's moving, he's not just standing there pointing. When he's moving in the forward 50, he's incredibly hard to defend. He's 198 centimetres, and it looks like his arms are longer than they should be. So at full stretch, when he's moving, he's very, very difficult to stop. And for the Saints, I mean, they got a little bit lucky. They got a cheap free kick, a cheap 50, which sort of got them on a little bit of a roll to kick, I think it was 3 consecutive goals and a bit of momentum going back their way. But again, pressure, intent from both sides has been really good. That, I guess they can't be critical of that. Berkey.
I've just been watching an interesting party. Brett Ratton down there as part of the North Melbourne coaching staff today. First time coaching against his old team, and you probably think how much could he give them? But the fact is they're playing a pretty different style than what they were over the last couple of years, so that probably won't help. He might be able to give them an insight into the psyche of each of the players and who can handle what. So I think he might come in useful there, but at the moment I think the Saints are certainly playing a different game style than what they were in the last couple of years. This is anyone's game. I can see the Kangaroos getting on a roll here. The Saints were pretty poor in their last quarter against Port Adelaide here a week ago. So if North Melbourne get 1 or 2 early, I think it's game on.
So St Kilda leading by 26 points as we turn for home in round 8, the final quarter of the weekend's football. Winning it down Goldstein, unable to gather at Davies Uniacke. Eventually Sheasel does, floats a kick for North towards half-forward. Battle looking to spoil it, falls in his lap and he takes the mark. He's got it at centre-half back.
Wasn't a great kick. It was over the head of Marshall, coming off his man at the right time and making a really important play. It was Drury, but another big hit there on Tucker. Fair hip and shoulder. If he's got any of his head there, he might be in a little bit of trouble. Lazaro, the sub-who, is on. Lazaro held to him. We'll have a ball up. Left half forward here for the Roos. Let's head downstairs. Jess.
Yeah, you're right, Maisie. North has made their sub. Lazaro comes into the game. Ben Cunnington has been subbed out just after 7 disposals this afternoon.
Davies Uniacke bursts from this stoppage. Kicks inside 50. No mark taken at ground level. Larky tried to get to work, but Wilkie is there. His grubbering kick was okay. Shields was clean though. Davies Uniac to Stevenson, who needs to pull the trigger from 40. Jaden Stevenson nails it. Hope for North. 4-7-31. 6-15-51 St Kilda, who played a minute in this fourth quarter.
Well, I said they were a chance.
Nostradamus Burke.
Look, Stevenson, that's just his 7th possession for the game so far. Hasn't had a great impact, but it doesn't have to be your day. It can be your moment, be your quarter. And started off well there with a long one from about 45 metres out. But the Kangaroos' ability to win just that congested ball, just really going in hard, firing the ball out to a free player on the outside. They really cracked in, and I think that was the catalyst for this ball coming out. And Davis Uniac again, just a smart handball. His score assisting for this team is really, really important.
Jess Webster downstairs.
St Kilda have now also made their sub. Jack Bytel comes into the game. It looks like Jade Gresham has taken his place at the back of the bench and is coming out of the contest.
A bit more midfield run for the Saints.
Bad bounce in the middle. Umpire tries again. Marshall with the backhand down. Steele on all fours. Flicks out a handball to Wood, to Sinclair. Back to Marshall with a big ruck. Kicks towards half forward. Bouncing ball here for Membry. Mackay right there with him. Strong tackle. Ball jars free. Sharman, a few party tricks, gathers between the legs. Handball back to Wanganeen Miller, and now on the wing to Wood. Long kick inside 50. Membry again. Can't mark, spoilt by Mackay. Ball spills free. Tackle on Tucker from Owens. He's tackled to ground. And a ball up to come. Saints by 20. North with the opening goal of this fourth term.
Ball tossed up. Marshall won at Des' feet, then grabbed it, kicked it. Landed at the top of the square. No mark taken by Memory. Bounced in front of him. Ball spurts out the back. It was dangerous for North. Sharman threw a boot at it rather. Couldn't make contact. And now a kick from Bergman. That is poor. Oh, hit the wrong side of the footy. And it's out of bounds on the full. Mason Wood with the free kick. Left forward pocket.
Mason, you're a left footer. You've got to run the other way. That's where you need a right footer to actually take the ball there.
He's looking for the pass. Can he pick it? Not quite. I reckon that was touched all the way through. It was. Off to Clark, who dropped the ball. Should be holding. It is. So North Melbourne escape a sticky situation. And Taylor with the free kick.
Taylor goes laterally to Davies Uniac. Get down to Jess Webster in a moment. More news down on the boundary. Davies Uniac, long kick. Larky marks, thinks about playing on and eventually decides against it. Will kick towards half forward for his great mate Zurha, who leads up and marks on his chest. Nothing he likes yet. So he'll just set it up. Looking for Logue to run and jump at it. 3 Saints there. Comes down at ground level. Bad bounce for Crouch, but Sinclair there to help out. Saints with it in the goal square. And Wilkie really short to Owens. Saints should be able to repel. They lead by 20.
Owens, long kick out of defence. Couple of flyers for North, and one of them is Core, stationed in front of that pack. Goes all the way back to Zeeble on halfway. Everyone in front of him, so he just pumps it long. Inside 50. Can they get a flyer? Not quite. Larky ran underneath it. Wanganeen Miller leaves the ball in the end for Battle. Battle short to Wood. Wood a careful kick to Bytel for his first possession of the game. Shocking possession too. Kicked it to Bailey Scott, who was 10 metres further away. He gets it to Taylor. High kick inside 50. Couple of Saints fly at it. Spoil each other. McDonald now outside of 50. Back to Taylor. Same kick. Take 2. No mark taken again. North looking for the Crummers. Larky's over it. And we'll have a ball up. Let's head downstairs. Just Webster.
Just a further update on Jade Gresham. He's got ice on his right knee, which is not good news. So he did get it checked out in the third quarter, but returned to the field of play. But now that he's has been subbed out and out of the contest. So hopefully not bad news there for Jade Gresham.
Stevenson gathers from the ball up. Eventually gives it off to Zurha. Centre and kick towards full forward. Wilkie running back. Drops the mark. Recovers quickly for the Saints. Handball to Hill. He just gets beyond the defensive 50. Has nowhere to go. Handball back to Wilkie. Wilkie laterally away to Crouch. Still inside the defensive arc here for the Saints. They lead it by 20. 6 minutes gone in the fourth.
Sorry, mate, ball's coming out too easily of the Kangaroos forward line.
Crouch runs his full measure, then a long kick around the boundary line. Sharman is first to recover at ground level. Hand pass back to Hill. Hill squeezed against the boundary, pokes a kick. Zeeble went the fist, didn't clear the area. Now a chance for Owens, who gets it to Phillippo. To the run of Membry. Membry just needed to lower his eyes, and he has hit Jaden Stevenson in the middle of 3 Saints. Stevenson, short kick is okay to Shields. Shields still inside defensive 50.
It's the worst kick of the day.
Shields.
3 players on 1 inside 50, and he hit the 1.
Shields short to Davies Uniacke. It was like he was the man, wasn't it? And that was who he was aiming for, as Davies Uniacke to a strong marking Logue. He'll come infield to Shields. Feeds the handball forward to Sheasel. Back to Shields. He'll chip it over the top. And coming up, the mark taken by Taylor.
Goldie's drifted forward for the Kangaroos. He's been one out mismatched for the last couple of minutes.
Taylor goes into the pocket, looking for Larkey. Here's Goldstein trying to rove. Eventually Wilkie, kick smothered, spills out to Zurha. Snap on goal. Will go across the face and through for a minor score. Back to 19 points, 7 minutes and change into the final term, Grandstand AFL.
Kangaroos need to continue that courage just to get the ball in, kick it long, give their forwards a chance. They need to pressure, try and lock it in.
3 behinds for Zurha this afternoon. Short kick from Wanganeen Miller to Stocker, who turns and goes straight away, and already there outside of defensive 50. Phillippo takes the mark, loops the hand pass over to Crouch. Scrubbering kick forward. It may work or it may not, as Core came off his man nicely. His kick not much better going the other way. Stocker onto it for the Saints, out wide, and Crouch takes the mark down low. 19 points the margin. St Kilda haven't scored in this final term yet. Margin was 26 at the final break. It's now 19 in favour of the Saints. Long kick, no mark taken. Stocker follows up, hand pass forward, but intercepted by Zeeble. Got his hands free. Just got the hand pass away to Tucker. And Tucker over the top to Bergman. Bergman out wide, and that's a good mark taken in the end. No, not paid to Curtis. He's got to fight for it at ground level now. Careful not to pull it in. And he'll have a stoppage left half forward for the Roos. Let's head downstairs, Jess.
It's all happening on the bench here in the fourth quarter. Rowan Marshall has just come limping to the Saints bench and a fair bit of discomfort. It's a left ankle complaint. They've taken the boot off and he's just gone down the race with doctors for a further assessment.
Hopefully he's all right. Close to the boundary line. City wing will get another throw in. 19 points. St Kilda's lead. North Melbourne with the only goal of this final term. Bill on the text pondering if the Roos are more difficult than Clarko thought perhaps. As Logue knocks it down to Simpkin. To Shields. North Melbourne away with a kick inside 50. Oh, good mark battle. Umpire says no. Play on. Ball jars free. Stocker gets involved. Handball away to Clark. A relieving kick for the Saints. Wood! Phillippo going upstairs. He nearly hit his head on the roof here at Docklands. He kicks down the wing.
Laid into it with his left boot. Free kick. Yes, it is. It's going the way of Mackay for a shepherding infringement against Membry, who will stand the mark. Mackay wants to go quickly. Strange kick. Not quite sure who he was going for then. Is he going to be played deliberate? No. Hill was appealing for it. Nothing forthcoming. It'll be a ball in just forward of centre wing for the Roos.
We haven't had many highlights, but we've had 2 speckies from the young fellas.
Yep. Toss back into play. Goldstein just smashes it down to Shields as he sat on his back, not quite. Ross ensuring he didn't go anywhere, and it'll be a ball up right on the logo.
Umpire puts it up. Goldstein knocks it down. Shields, handball away to Sheasel. Off to Simpkin. To Davies Uniacke. Works his way through them. To Tucker. Back to Davies Uniacke. To finish his work, he misses. The snap on goal. The behind. North of Peppering. Can't quite finish. 4:9:33 the Roos. St Kilda 6:15:51. 10.5 into the fourth.
They kicked it out to the side to Mitch Owens versus Goldstein.
Wanganeen Miller Out wide, Filippo almost took it again. Goldstein did the roving, off to Simpkin by hand, inside attacking 50. Curtis one grab, the second, not the third. Stocker got a hot handball away to Wanganeen Miller, who just thumps it outside defensive 50. Burns did well to win the one-on-one, and now off to Clark by hand. Higgins is all alone on halfway. He's inside the centre square. Now a chance for St Kilda. Not wanting to go was Filippo there. Had a couple of handball options short, instead held it up. Went long by hand on the bounce. Finds Hill, who's on the wing. High kick. This will land inside 50. Big fist comes from Zeeble. Didn't find the boundary line though. Owens there. Toes it. Butler has it. Snaps it back. It'll just drop to Higgins and he grabs it. Uncontested in the end. It went high. I'm not quite sure it went 15 metres, but Higgins has it right forward pocket.
Well, that's a really weird way to mark the ball inside 50. The kick in by Hill wasn't great, but it managed to just keep it alive, almost hit the roof. Higgins plays on.
Higgins snaps with the left and delivers. A steadier for the Saints. Their first score of the final term, his second goal, and after 12 minutes, they extend the margin back out to 4 straight goals.
Kangaroos have had a lot of the game played in their half this last quarter. Not to take anything away from the Saints' defence, but the ball has just come out far too easily for the Kangaroos. They haven't been able to get any repeat stoppages. Saints have then been able to isolate and find the spare and then rebound relatively quickly out of there. Disappointing for the Kangaroos because they've given themselves plenty of opportunity.
Inside 50s this quarter, 10-3 in favour of North Melbourne. Just haven't been able to capitalise.
Bounce back in the middle. Goldstein flicking it down, trying to get it to Lazaro. Eventually Simpkin onto the footy. Handball to Sheasel. Handball away to Shields. Handball misses Simpkin. Allows in Owens. There's a free kick. Going to go the way of Owens in the end. So Mitch Owens will get it. At centre half back for the Saints. They lead by 4 goals neat. As Owens kicks laterally to Hill. Hill will go short and Stocker comes up and marks.
Stocker happy to hold things up. Feign the handball. Called to play on. Kicks it as far as he can to right half forward. No mark taken. Memory read it nicely out the back. Didn't have a lot forward, but kicks as far as he can. Marnie, double-fisted spoil. Probably should have marked it in the end. Saints trying to get numbers to the fall of the ball. It's Wood who was first to the ball. Some sort of handball while he's lying on his back. Back into congestion now. Shields over the top of it, ensuring it doesn't go anywhere. And we'll have a stoppage right forward pocket for the Saints.
Kangaroos did well to cause a ball up there. I thought the Saints were in the box seat.
Goldstein swats it down easily to Mackay. High ball towards halfback. No one able to take the mark there. Loose footy. Coming in and coming through is Clark. He leaves it behind momentarily. Bounces out to Hill. Snaps into the pocket. Goldstein stands in front and marks. Takes the defensive mark for North. Gives it off to Sheasel. He will kick across to Marnie. Marks in the right back pocket.
Stevenson, strong lead, takes the grab. Larkey says, give it to me one-on-one. He's standing on the wing. He's matched up against Wilkie. Tracking back was Ross. He hugs the boundary line. It's a good kick from Stevenson. No, it's not. Missed by 10 centimetres, it feels like. And Shields marked it. And that's almost 50. Lucky. Ping the ball straight over the head of Steele. Still can't believe it. Shakes his head as he goes to pick it up. He'll have the free kick from in front of the interchange benches.
Steele will look long. Thumps it inside 50. Looking for a marker. Up goes Filippo. Can't take the mark. Down at ground level. Eventually trying to emerge with it is Perez. McDonald burrows in. He's tackled quickly. And another ball up. Or a ball up on the attacking 50.
Seb Ross just the 10 possessions today. That's well down on his season average.
Goldstein the tap. Emerging with it, Shields to Marnie. A whistle on the play. It'll come back. It'll be a free kick. Going to Shields. So Kilda leading by 24 points Quarter-hour mark, final term.
Ross making it hard for Marnie to get back to his feet. Returns the ball to Shields, who gives it immediately by hand out to Bergman, and he finds Larkey on a long lead. Again in front of the interchange benches. Larkey looking to go long. Goldstein the target. He's 3 deep in this contest, but that man again, Wilkie, takes another intercept mark.
I don't think there's a player in the league who reads the high ball as well as he does.
Wilkie stabs it short for the Saints to steal. Jess Webster.
Rowan Marshall has just emerged from the race for the Saints after that left ankle concern. He appears he's just on a fitness test along the boundary. He appears okay. He's taken a seat, but I think he might come back into the contest shortly. Steele
goes short to Howard. He moves it short to Stocker. Switches to Wanganeen Millera. Millera in the right back pocket. Short to Battle. Battle will go short in turn laterally.
This last 9 minutes could be a bit boring, for want of a better word, if the Saints just try and slow this game right down.
Patton to Sinclair, gives it to Patton running by, who stabs it out to the wing, and Sharman can lead up and mark on the logo.
Took a specky on return this afternoon. Sharman attacking kick, that's a good one, right into the middle. Wanganeen Millera takes the mark. He can go. He goes by hand to a stationary Stocker. Shocking kick inside 50. Shank lands on the chest of Marnie. Marnie for the Roos. Takes a bit off his kick. Not ideal either for Taylor, who had to sit underneath it. Spoil went the way of Stevenson, though. He propels North forward. Good spoil by Wilkie. Larkey was in front of him. At ground level, Zerha fights hard. But Ross wins a good contested ball. Off to Wilkie, to Wanganeen Millera. How's the vision? Lovely lateral kick to Stocker, who goes in turn into the middle to Sinclair and further out wide. They've moved this beautifully, St Kilda, to Hill, who thought about a bounce. Kicks inside 50 to finish the move. Wood, one grab and the second. Lovely footy, St Kilda. All set up by Wanganeen Millera on the boundary line. And the 40-metre kick almost into the centre square. A risky kick, but it's paid off.
Interesting kick by Brad Hill too. He had 2 plays streaming at him that were completely free, but he went the longer one over the top, and Mason Wood didn't let him down.
So the man who spent a long time at Arden Street, Mason Wood, to come in and seal the deal for the Saints. 15 out. And he puts the final nail in the coffin. 4-9-33 the Roos. The margin now 5 goals, 8-15-63 the Saints. We've played 18 minutes in this final quarter. Your experts on Grandstand AFL, Nathan Burke and Brad Saul.
Well constructed by the Saints. It's been watching a little bit of Zerha the last couple of minutes. A few of his efforts have been really poor. Firstly, aerial contest down the line. Ran completely under the ball, and then Millera just finding too much time and space with a couple of poor efforts there again. He's one of the leaders and one of the experienced players for the Kangaroos. He needs to show more than that.
A few criticisms around it last week as well. Sully bounce back in the middle. Owens and Goldstein. Goldstein knocking it down. Shields emerges with the footy. Handball away. Marnie onto it. Handball to Drury. His kick misses the target. Battle should be there for the Saints. Going after it. Logue, though. Swats it out to Lazaro. Now coming through in the end is Taylor. He's tackled to ground and will get a ball up. 15 out from the attacking goal here for North. Saints by 30 points. Nearly time on in this 4th term.
Thrown up. Goldstein won it down. Taken in a strong tackle was Scott Stevenson. His hand pass missed the target. Coming through Sharman, who just whacks it forward. 2-on-2. Bell bouncing end on end. Filippo v. Core tracking it back inside, attacking 50. Core wins the day. Kicks out wide. Ball pitches in. Wanganeen Millera sees it over. And I reckon Drury was out of gas as well, so he was pretty happy to see it over as well. Well, let's head downstairs. Ball right in front of Jess Webster.
Rowan Marshall is done for the day, guys. He's got ice on the left ankle. He was standing on the interchange gates ready to go back into the contest. I reckon that last goal, that the coaching staff may have thought, you know what, I think we're done here. Let's put him on ice.
Goldstein almost headed it down to Shield. Coming through is Taylor, just getting a handball out. Now picking it up, Sharman loses it. Shield steals it for North. Off to Perez. On the logo, steps his man, kicks long inside 50. Battle going back. Logue swirls from behind inside 50 here for North. Loose footy for Scott. He's stripped of it. And he's pinged holding the ball. So the Saints to get it. And Patton, he'll flare it out to right half back and Hill. Saints by 30 points. 21 into the fourth.
Hill, right half back. Long kick, low kick, and dropped short in the end. Zeebel's able to take the mark. He kicks short. 17th mark of the afternoon for Jack Zeebel. Long kick inside 50 for the Roos, and the mark is taken easily by Battle. Battle sees something he likes on the wing, but the kick lacked penetration. Marnie in to take it. Higgins stands the mark. Stole a couple of metres there too, Jack Higgins. Short kick by Marnie. Defensive side of the wing. Perez has it. Perez out wide, and he's kicked that out of bounds on the full in front of the debutant in Blake Drury.
Higgins takes it quickly. Kicks very short to Wanganeen Millera. Kick 11 back in 2021. Wanganeen Millera towards the logo. And in front, Zurha marks for North. Feeds a handball forward to Shields. Looking for Logue on the lead. Marks 49 out. Stevenson offers. He ignores that. Looks like he'll go back and kick for goal with the mark 49 metres out.
Shields has been good today for the Kangaroos through the midfield. He's had 26 possessions. Zeebel 34 and Sheasel 29. Arguably the junk in the back line for those two.
Griff Logue arcs out onto the left boot. It won't have the journey. It'll go right towards the line. Knocked down, eventually rode by Scott. His snap is across the face, tumbles towards the boundary. And Drury will escort it out, or gather it just as it bounces out. In fact, and a throw in right forward pocket.
Time ticking down. St Kilda are going to register another win in this strong start to the season underneath the guidance of Ross Lyon. To the back of the pack it falls. Squeezing out a kick was Ross. It hit Sheasel on the chest, who kicks inside 50. Spoilers come from everywhere. Wanganeen Miller are too good at ground level. To Bytel by hand now to Stocker, and out wider still to Crouch. Crouch the kicker. Stocker kept on running. Great work rate from the former Blue. He takes it on his chest, left half back, now pulls the trigger. Good kick too to find Higgins. Higgins on the logo. Plenty of Roos in front of him. Laterally he's got a couple of Saints running, and one of them, no surprise, is Hill. Hill back to another running machine in Wanganeen Millera, who kicks inside 50 to the advantage of Butler. A couple of juggles, couldn't take the mark. Hand pass from the Roos, missed the target. Zeebel has to mop up. Will he get a free kick for too high? Yes. So Zeebel with the relieving free kick. Left back pocket for North Melbourne. 34 possessions, 3 contested. 17 marks, 4 tackles and 2 inside 50s.
Had 13 to half-time, in which he was, in terms of marks, he was on pace for a record, not to be. He's dumped after he kicks here, and the free kick will be downfield. And Drury will take the free kick. It's continuing on with Zeebel and Butler too, right towards the front row.
They've given another 50, have they?
Yeah, so Drury is run downfield. So we'll have it on the logo, on the wing, and then chip it really short to Shields. Feeds a handball to Perez. He'll loop one over the top to Marnie. Looking inside 50 for North. Feeds it to Zurha. Short kick, trying to get it to Goldstein. Goldstein picks it up. He's tackled out. And we'll get the throw in right forward pocket.
2 minutes to go.
Butler ran at Zeebel, and Zeebel sort of crouched down and flipped him, sort of WWE style. Yeah, I know.
I don't think it was 50 in the first place. He was in the action of kicking the ball.
Yeah, 100% agree. So from the stoppage, Taylor reads it off the pack, kick to the top of the square. Mark dropped in the end by Battle. The safety of the behind line is there for him, and he rushes it through for another behind. Has been that sort of afternoon. 4 goals, 10, 34 the Roos. 8, 15, 63 the Saints. 25 played, final term.
Wanganeen Miller short kick in. It's a good one. Mark taken by Stocker, who will kick it back to Wanganeen Miller. Wanganeen Miller chipping it around the boundary to Wilkie. Question on the SMS about how many consecutive games Cal Wilkie has played since debut. Game 93 here today without missing. He goes short to Patton. Patton will take his time and eventually kick long towards the wing. Mackay outpoints Steele and takes a good mark. Mackay with it on the wing for North. He'll kick back to Zeeble, mark number 18.
Zeeble switches play, the greatest kick ball pitches and puts Perez under plenty of pressure. Had no option there but to absorb the tackle. And he holds things up. It'll be a stoppage at the top of attacking 50. Dan Butler just getting under the skin of a couple of roos. Sharman there. Goldstein wanders across. He goes in the ruck, but Owens didn't even elect to jump there. From the stoppage, Sharman, hand pass out to Crouch, dummy, hand pass further wide to Patton. Lovely kick up the middle. And he was just able to spot Bytel in a little bit of space. He takes the mark 45 out directly in front.
One of the few times we've seen a little bit of composure going inside forward 50 rather than just banging it long or hitting the pocket, keeping the ball inside the corridor, hitting a free player.
Bytel starts his approach. He'll have to kick from just beyond 50. He lays into it nicely. It's drifting away for one behind. And probably fittingly, that is the siren. It's been a day of behinds. It wasn't pretty. But St Kilda will take the 4 points. And they're back inside the top 4 after the opening 8 rounds of season 2023. 8-16-64, plays 4-10-34, a 5-goal win. For North Melbourne, 3 goals to Larkey, 1 to Stevenson, rather. 4 St Kilda, 2 to Higgins, 2 to Butler, 1 each to Sharman, Owen, Sinclair and Wood. It's a Saints by 30 points.
Oh, when the Saints go marching in, oh, when the Saints go marching in, oh, how I want to be with St Kilda, when the Saints go marching in.
So the Saints go marching back into the top 4 with what is their 6th win of the season here in round 8, North Melbourne. They hung around for a lot of the afternoon, but in the end, St Kilda, their class came to the fore and they win by 5 goals. Ben Cameron alongside Andrew Mays for all of the action. Our experts Nathan Burke and Brad Sewell to tell us how it all happened.
Sometimes you just need to get the 4 points, and that's what it was for St Kilda today. Just scrappy all day. They were sort of dragged down to North's level, disappointingly from the Saints' perspective. They showed glimpses of what we have seen of them this year, but they were fleeting. That's not taking anything away from North's pressure. They were quite good, but it didn't quite sound right when you said St Kilda are back in the top 4 after watching this here today, Berkey.
No, I think it's one of those games where you go, yep, we got the 4 points, and you need those games. You need the ones where you go, we didn't play as well as we could have or should have, but we still got the 4 points, because you can't play at your best every single week. So when you're down, you still get the 4 points. Well, then you'll take that. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Ross Lyon was hoping for a better bounce back in terms of how they want to play the game after losing the previous 2 weeks. Get back into more semblance of how they want to play the game, and really didn't see that today, because I think inside 50s in the end it was 48 all. he'd expect to have more inside 50s than North Melbourne. So that meant North Melbourne actually moved the ball pretty well to get the ball inside 50, considering I think the Saints actually won the clearances 32-26. So he wouldn't be happy with the way they defended. Certainly wouldn't be happy with the way that they moved the ball inside forward 50. I think Membry's come back into that side and they haven't been the same since. He's just sort of detracted a little bit from the movement and the dynamism of that forward 50. So there's a big question to be had over here and whether he stays in when Max King comes in, because I'm not sure you can have both of them in there. I've liked the difference of Mitch Owen and Philippou, and I like Cooper Sharman's game today as well. He really gives them something different. 17 possessions, 1 goal, 2, sort of moving up the ground as well. So for me, I think Membry might be the one who's in strife next week if Max King comes back into this team.
Wow. The interesting thing will be as well when Caminiti gets back from suspension, whether he's around the mark and comes back into the side. So there's a bit to work through. Are you at all concerned with what we saw from St Kilda today, or was it a case of they came up against North Melbourne, maybe came slightly down to the level, and this is what they delivered?
No, in isolation, you have these days, and they just had to grit their teeth, St Kilda, and get through, and that's what they did. So, I mean, I can't imagine they'll spend too much time during the week reviewing it. There'll be some positives that they'll find and they'll take away. And one of those might arguably be at least they gave themselves the opportunity in front of goal 8-16. They just couldn't finish.
24 shots a goal it's a pretty good effort from 48 entries. So half the time they go in there, they're having a shot. But, I think it was more so around the ground, the way that they want to play. It just wasn't the Saints that we saw in those first 5 weeks. North Melbourne, though, they had a crack. And I think we mentioned at the start, before the game started, that there's been question mark over their intensity the last couple of weeks. There were some individual efforts here and there that we thought, that could have been a bit harder. But as a whole, I think Clarko would be impressed with the way that they actually conducted themselves today in terms of their physicality and their effort.
Which was the better mark that we saw today, just quickly? Was it Philippou on the City wing, or was it Cooper Sharman here on the Dockside wing?
I'm going to say Sharman because it was right in front of us.
Yeah.
Good look at it. Exciting couple of forward prospects for the Saints, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something to really build on and work with over the next decade if they can hold on to everyone.
And even the Sharman, the Philippou streaming through the middle of the ground and the flying shot on goal. I mean, I think there's a little bit of a thought around St Kilda that he might spend a little more time in the midfield as he goes on. And, gee, that was exciting, wasn't it, when we saw him bounding through the middle?
Yeah, and we've mentioned Caminiti, who's got that 4-week suspension, which must be coming to an end pretty soon. So, good quandary for the Saints forward line. Robert Harvey is the Saints forward line coach. So Mitch Owens has been doing a really good job. One of the things that is a little bit of a concern with the Saints is that second ruck position. So they're using Mitch Owens as that second ruck. And in that last quarter in particular, when Rowan Marshall was off, he pretty much was just getting pushed out of the way by a Goldstein who was putting the ball wherever he wanted. So you get a really well-drilled, well-oiled midfield group and give a ruck that much time and effort to put the ball where he wants, that's going to make it really difficult for those Saints midfielders. So they need to find probably a better option in that second ruck. One of the things that Cooper Sharman can do is 2 seasons ago they actually trained him over pre-season as a second ruck because he's got an enormous leap on him. So potentially he could come in and play that role. And Mitch Owens is only in his second season. It's a big ask.
I reckon we can head down into the St Kilda rooms and hear from Jess Webster as the Saints head in there.
Thanks, Ben. Yeah, the players are slowly filing in now. A small contingent of family, friends and staff members. The Saints so far this season haven't really been singing their team's song full of gusto after their win, so I'll be interested to see if it's more of the same from this group. Pretty relieved to get the win, so here we go. Let's have a listen.
When the Saints come marching in, marching in. Oh, I want to be in St Kilda. Oh, when the Saints go marching in.
We'll head back downstairs into the Saints rooms very shortly and hear from one of their players on the back of this win. A lot of fans have just flooded Docklands out to have a kick. They've roped off the centre square area, but everyone out there and ready to have a kick in and around that. And generally they like to go towards the goals, but a few having a kick on the wings as it stands at the moment. The inaccurate kicking, how would you approach it during the week if you were involved at St Kilda? Is there more goal kicking training? Is it something you just let go through to the keeper and take as a one-off? How do you approach it?
Well, the Saints have, in the last 3 weeks, employed David Whedon as the goal kicking coach.
With a handover to Brendan Goddard in years to come.
Well, BJ filled in for their goal kicking coach who left, and BJ stepped in, and Ross said, look, BJ, you're doing a good job, but I'm going to bring in like an expert to help you and teach you how to do it, and then eventually you can take over. So that was the handover thing, but it certainly hasn't worked today. There might be a little bit of confusion in the messages between the new guy and the old guy, because it just wasn't great. But 8 goals, 16 inside, dry conditions, under a roof, there's really no excuse for that.
It was both teams too. I mean, the amount of shanks, Zerha, we had a couple in a row there where he made the wrong decision, but the set shot kicking was really disappointing.
It can become contagious.
Yeah.
It's not only... So if you miss one, it can get in your head, oh no, I've missed one. But if you see other people missing them as well, it can have the same effect.
Yeah. How would you approach it, Borley?
I'm not sure what Borley would do. But,
Sorry.
It's a combination of Brad and Saul.
Yeah.
Borley.
No, I'm assuming...
I'm just proving I can't do two things at once. I'm texting at the same time.
All good. Assuming that there is already a reasonable focus on it during the week, it's just a matter of drawing attention to it. I mean, it wouldn't be harping on it, but clearly it's a focus area for the group and something they'll continue working on and placing a value on it.
It's going to be a little bit of a watch with St Kilda. We spoke throughout the afternoon about how you need to go at St Kilda. The fact that you can't go slow at them, you have to take them on. It didn't feel like North Melbourne were able to or willing to really do that at any stage.
One thing with North Melbourne is they're not able to play a particular style for long periods. They'll get it right for periods of time and they'll say, keep doing that. But that's just the evolution of a team learning that they just can't say, okay, let's just do this for 4 quarters. Don't ask me why they can't, but it's just the way that the evolution of teams need to grow and build and do it for longer and longer and longer and stay in for games for longer and longer. They don't just go from being bad to being very good in the space of a week or so. So today they had periods where they did move the ball really well, when Larky got on his bike and actually presented a really good target and he was moving. I thought Zerha, for all of his faults, did provide something down there. I think he needs to stay down there, certainly with Comben being out. He needs to be down there and do most of his work inside forward 50, not worry about getting too far up the ground, because Larky does need somebody to draw attention away from him. So I think that's what Clarko's all about. He's after moments, periods, and show them this is what we need to do over and over and over again, and then drill, train, make them as fit as they possibly can be, take away any doubts in their minds, and hope that one day soon they'll be able to put it together for 3 quarters, and that might be enough to score heavily enough to hang on for the last quarter. And then in 8 weeks' time, then you know what, they might be able to put it together for 4 quarters and have a really good win. I think that's the sort of progress you're looking for North Melbourne.
Ben Mackay today seemed to take a couple of steps forward. He's been a little bit inconsistent coming off injury early in the season, but I thought today he took a couple of positive steps in the right direction.
Played straight in his hands, didn't it? Just play at times almost loose across half back, and the Kangaroos' pressure at times coming out of their front half just allowed or forced St Kilda to bomb it long, and And Mackay obviously reading it well. Took plenty of marks, and I hope that's a stepping stone for him going forward.
Yeah, first half he was very good. He had 7 marks in that first half, only 3 in the second half. But first half in particular was really, really good performance.
What did you make of the approach from North Melbourne? We spoke right off the top about the 5 changes. They left out 442 games of experience coming into this week. Are they better to take the pain and get the games into the younger players like Flynn Perez, who's 21 years of age, playing his 20th game today, a debut for Blake Drury, even, someone like a Jack Marnie?
I think absolutely. That they do, and it's a shocking term of the list clogger. It's the guy who probably deserves a game. He's probably in your best 22 for that week, but is he going to be the player that's here when you are again vying for finals? Potentially your next tilt at a grand final. Are they going to be there, going to be around? If they're not a player like a Luke Hodge who goes back to Brisbane and really marshals things and gets everyone set up and teaches the young fellas what to do, if you're not that type, well then, you know what, I'm probably better off getting those games into those fellas. That's my opinion.
It'll be something that Alistair Clarkson will have to manage throughout the year. Can you, Sully, it's something we go back to with you, but obviously you went through it a little bit in the early part of your career, managing that with Clarko. How will he approach it?
Definitely recognising who's going to be part of your next premiership team.
Yep.
And I feel like we're starting to see that, in St Kilda's list and their play. Not quite as evident for the Kangaroos just yet. They've got a few more drafts they need to keep accumulating young talent. But yeah, it's a fine balance, isn't it? You're getting games into young players, but at the same time, not completely scarring them with some brutal losses. But provided Clarko can find that core group of young players that can go through those shared experiences, then they kind of develop this grit and they develop this bit of a chip on their shoulder, particularly if they keep getting smashed by the same side. And reflecting back on us early days, that was Port Adelaide. We just got smashed by 100 points almost consecutive years. But it was the same core group of young players that were experiencing that. And so you go through that together and it becomes a really important part of the journey.
It's a fascinating list management discussion too, because obviously he's brought in Liam Shields, Daniel Howell's another one to make the move. So he's got a couple of those experienced bodies in, but then maybe he's got a number in his head now where he wants to play a certain amount of them without tipping over, as he said, Berkey, into list clogger territory where you're playing a number of those older guys who weren't taking this list forward. And I wonder if he's just sort of working that out as he goes.
But they may not have the depth either. I mean, I don't know what the reserves are like and how skinny they really are. And physically, some young players that Clarko may have pegged to be a part of the next premiership team just physically may not be ready to withstand an AFL game. Yeah,
and Charlie Comben is obviously out with that serious leg injury, so he's one who is not there at the moment, which is a little bit of not a little bit, is a real shame for North Melbourne, but a little bit of an indication as to guys they might be missing as it stands. Is their system working? I mean, they're trying to sort out the way they can go about it under Alistair Clarkson, but it felt slow and stagnant today, as referenced by the point that Jack Zeeble had 18 marks as they chipped it around across halfback.
I mean, I enjoyed aspects of their build-up, and it was a clear strategy going into it, holding on to the ball off halfback, then trying to find that overlap and then get it in long to the likes of Larkey. Now, Larkey had it in his hands in the first 10 to 15 minutes in that first quarter, but just couldn't hold on to the ball. So at times it looked like it was working. But regardless of the system that the Kangaroos are going to play at the moment, they just don't have the skill or the talent or the maturity, both physically and experience-wise, to be able to adhere to three quarters even of any type of game plan. So they need to pull levers within that game plan that allow them to play within their own limitations, and that's not always going to be pretty.
They're missing a couple of big fellas in Cherry, Tristan Cherry. Coleman Jones is another one. Thank goodness that they didn't pull the pin on Big Goldstein, which was probably on the cards. That would have been real strife if they had have pulled that lever. Big Gold, he's holding his own. He's doing probably what we expected him to do, and inching his way. 300 games must be
past 300 now, so up to 302 today.
302, that's a huge effort. But he's carrying a big weight on his shoulders through that middle of the ground, and doing a really good job, I think. Greenwood's another one who's not in. He's a big body, athletic sort of player that they need back in and playing to his capability. He wasn't really doing that before he went out. So, look, there are some more senior players available, or not available at the moment, but hopefully will come back in, some bigger bodies that will certainly help them.
Some of the texts that came throughout the afternoon, and you can keep them coming on 0437 774 774. Bill asked the question as to whether the Roos are more of a difficult job than Clarko thought, perhaps.
No, I'm pretty sure he was well aware of what he was walking into. He may not get right how long it takes, but I'm pretty sure he's well aware of what he was dealing with.
You agree, Berkey?
Yeah, I think Clarko's smart enough man to know. He would have done homework to the inch of his life on every single player on that list and what draft picks they've got coming up for next year and the year after and year after that, and he would have made his decision based on all that information.
Plus he's got the very real lived experience of when he took up Hawthorn. It wasn't quite as bad, but only a few years earlier that had the merger game against Melbourne, and were at a reasonably low ebb before they came through. Basil on the SMS says, we missed Kamanides' contest in the forward line last week and this week.
Yeah, probably a good call. That's one thing that he does. He provides a really, really good contest. And as I said, Membry, since he's come back in, hasn't been the player that they need him to be. He's just not getting on his bike and leading at the football. It's too much kick it in the air, lob it on my head, and he doesn't take those sorts of marks, especially against a big defender. So to me, I know he's a big name and they wanted him back in, but certainly he's in a bit of strife.
Let's go check in with the Saints. Jess Webster is down in the rooms with a special guest.
I sure am. Cal Wilkie is good enough to join us post-game. Cal, thanks for joining us. North put up a really good challenge, but you must be pleased to grind out the win and get back on the winners list.
Yeah, definitely. Their pressure was good, and we were very sloppy, but credit to them. They came out hard and put it right up to us. But like you said, happy to get the 4 points, and we'll view it strongly and look to Adelaide next week.
What do you take out of a game like this when it's you weren't playing at your best? It was a bit of a scrappy first half. Goals were hard to come by. When it's all said and done, you got the 4 points. What do you take away from it?
Yeah, you probably look at the mental aspect of it. There was a lot of fumbles. Defensively, we probably weren't as sharp as we'd like to be. So, we'll have to review that and see how people, prepared going into the game. But, happy to grind out for the 4 points. I mean, we still put up 24 scoring shots. So, if we kick straight, I think a few of the boys were complaining that the ball was a bit flat at half time. But, we'll just get to work during the week and look forward to Adelaide.
And a couple of nice moments from Cooper Sharman and Philippo taking some hangers. That must be really exciting to have see some highlights from the young guns coming through. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, Philippo's been, I guess, looking to get mark of the week every week. He's had a few opportunities and dropped them. So, he took a couple of good marks, and Cooper can do that. He's always shown that ability. So, it was good to see them take those sort of marks.
Cal Wilkie with us on Grandstand AFL. Let's head upstairs to our experts, Brad Sewell and Nathan Burke.
Cal, Nathan Burke here, mate. Well done today. Just wondering, you said we're going to review this game heavily. In terms of the things that you review compared to maybe last year or the year before, how different are they? Or are they the same sort of aspects of football that Ross just has a slightly different spin on? Or are you reviewing completely different things?
Ross has got his own sort of spin on a few things. We'll review, trademark efforts, good ones. We always like to be pretty positive with seeing people do, what we expect and what we value a lot within the four walls. So, and then probably be a bit of execution, I can imagine, and defensive review. But yeah, we were just pretty sloppy today, and there might be a little bit of talk about how we prepare, and we've been pretty good in terms of the way we've gone about it for the first 6 rounds. So no, Ross was pretty good just then. We just probably need to be better as a whole group, but we'll review it strongly.
What does he go to first? Does he go to effort first or structure first when he reviews?
We're probably effort. That's what we value within our trademark, and we'll see a lot of positives. He shows all the good things, and we'll keep it at that.
I thought Sinclair was quite good when he went to the midfield there for a little bit. Cal, where do you like to see him play his best footy?
I like him half back with me.
I bet you do.
I don't like him seeing him go into the midfield, but no, he's a star player, absolute quality. So wherever the coach sees fit, but I love him in the half back line, so I don't like to see him go.
What's your depth like in the reserves at the moment? How are they going? And have you got a list of sort of 30, 32 that are ready to play senior football?
Yeah, I think it's been widely reported, our injury list at the start of the year, and we're slowly getting those players back. And there's some quality players in the twos that, if we get injured, someone gets injured, there's the next man up. And I think we sort of showed that with the star calibre players that were out to begin with at the beginning of the year, and people stepped up in those roles. So, yeah, we're starting to get a few quality players back, like Jack Billings has had maybe 1 or 2 games now. Max hopefully back next week. I think Caminiti coming off his suspension soon. Next week might be another week for him. So, no, we've got some players there that are ready to play senior footy.
Cal, I just want to clarify something. The flat ball line, players actually thought the balls were flat. They weren't joking about just some poor skills.
I don't know. I might need to check that up. But there was a few players joking about not joking about it, saying it was flat at half time. I was like, we'll go speak to the umpire then. But, there's more than one ball that gets used throughout the game. So maybe they were just blaming their poor goal execution on that. But who knows?
Deflategate here at Docklands. Maybe the little.
No, you did hear it from me.
The system just wasn't quite. The gauge wasn't pumping them up correctly. We have to speak about your streak before we let you go. 93 consecutive games since debut. How have you done it?
By not getting injured. It's been good to just consistently be on the park. I pride myself in that, and touch wood. Obviously, hadn't had any injuries, and something I take pride in being able to front up week in, week out for the football team. So I can hopefully continue that and touch wood, not get injured or dropped.
I don't think you'll be getting dropped anytime soon. Cal Wilkie, I think we've got to let you go. Appreciate your time. Enjoy your couple of days off. Thanks for chatting to us.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
There is Cal Wilkie. Fascinating about the flat balls. How does it impact you when the ball isn't properly pumped up?
Rubbish, you've got to blame something, don't you? Give me a spell.
I bet you everyone talking about it was a forward. Everyone who kicked a point would be having their own little pity party in the corner.
Well, I know for a fact, or I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure the Saints take out the balls they use for their games and kick them in before a match that they play.
Yep.
Generally, they're a bit hard and too pointy when they're brand new, but this is a completely different issue if they're not properly pumped up.
Both sides are playing with the same ball, so evens out, doesn't it?
It does.
That's why the other one kicked 4-10.
Yeah, that's why they both kick between them 12-26. It's not so much like Tom Brady perhaps wanting to grip the not quite as inflated football in the NFL, but interesting point and debate.
Blazer this year for Cal Wilkie. He surely, if we were to draw a line on the season now, surely he's in that back six in the All-Australian team.
Surely, as I said during the call, there's nobody who judges a high ball better than him in the league. And you probably can't help but think, what would have happened if they had chucked him up the other end and been a forward? Because he does mark the ball really well. But I think it's just the way that he manoeuvres the player going for the ball out of the way ever so subtly. most of his marks are pretty much uncontested because he just uses his not necessarily size. He's not a huge man, but incredible marking ability.
Another one from the rookie list.
Yeah.
Defenders especially, where, I mean, so many clubs have been so good at it for so long. You think about the way Sydney have used the rookie list amongst their defensive ranks, and to get people like Dane Rampy, it's been an incredible effort.
Yep.
And Wilkie's another example of that.
And the Saints are in pretty good shape. There's 9 players that I can easily say could be fill-ins if injuries. So you've got Billings, Caminiti, Caulfield, Jack Hayes, Zach Jones, Max King, Dan McKenzie, Jimmy Webster and Marcus Windhager. Each of those can come in and play a significant role in the team. So, they've got some in the cupboard should they need them.
We might move on from this match and talk about some of the other games from across the day and across the round. 0437 774 774 if you wish to add your voice to the conversation. Anne in Brunswick says, well done, Saints. Could someone give Filippo some grippo? He'll take a lot of screamers if he can make them stick. He certainly made one stick today. Razor in Rockingham says, Ross Lyon coach football is boring. It might win, but I'll never pay to watch it. Marilyn in Mullaloo says, yippee, when the Saints go marching in, happy, very happy. Thanks for the great coverage. And Louis in Sydney says, love the commentary, boys. What positives can North take from this game so far? Which I think we covered a few of those. Keep the texts coming. Earlier today, Collingwood 77 defeated the Sydney Swans 48, 11-11, 77 to 6-12, 48. So a little bit of a last frontier for Collingwood winning over the Sydney Swans, something they hadn't done under Craig McRae, and lost that prelim final against Sydney last year. One of the bizarre talking points out of it was the fact that the Collingwood fans were booing Lance Buddy Franklin, the last man to 1,000 goals, and John Longmire was naturally quizzed about it post-match.
It's noticeable the booing of Lance Franklin. Today, John's the champion of the game. What did you take on that?
Yeah, Charlie and I actually didn't know. And we were on the bench and we don't sit back and sit there like a spectator and didn't understand it, but I don't know why they would. Why would they boo him? Why would you boo him? Probably celebrate a 36-year-old, wouldn't you, that's been a champion of the game? Why would you? It's been 10 years since we played Collingwood here. Why would you be one of the champions of the game? Doesn't make sense to me.
So a little bit strange against Buddy Franklin, who is a champion of the game, the last man to 1,000 goals, will be an Australian Football Hall of Fame first ballot inductee, and I would think a Hall of Fame legend.
Yep, no doubt.
In his last 10 games.
Yeah, who knows?
It's bizarre.
No idea.
Mob mentality, I think, gets the better of a lot of footy supporters. We're seeing that with Jason Horne-Francis over the start of the season as well. But no, it's not something you want to see.
Was there something at the beginning of the game where he played for free kick or something, or was there anything that instigated it, or was it just from the get-go?
No, I mean, I was listening to our team at the MCG led by Matt Clinch and Corbin Middlemass, and it was something they picked up straight away.
Yeah, right.
So I'm not sure that there was a specific incident at the start of the game. So, no, strange one. Very strange one.
Is it becoming a bigger issue throughout the competition? Like, for no rhyme nor reason, teams just decide, we're going to boo this player.
I think there was a period of time where people enjoyed a villain, and at times maybe the villain enjoyed being the villain as well. I think Milne or... God, I don't know who else has there been. Acker. I mean, we had
Wayne Carey before that. Really, he got booed a fair bit in his career as well.
Probably a couple of reasons for that at one point in time. And those kind of players fed off that. But that's not Buddy,
No.
So you can't imagine what would have been the instigator for that to begin.
No, strange one. I don't know if anyone hasn't seen Brodie Myercheck's goal on the goal line. I know we've had a couple of unbelievable contenders for goal of the year over the last couple of weeks. I didn't think I was going to say Marcus Ashcroft. Didn't think Will Ashcroft could be outdone from last week, and we had a couple of rippers. But Brody Mychek has... there was a sky ball right to the goal line from Jordan De Goey. Brody Mychek essentially an overhead kick soccer style into the back of the net on the goal line. Brendan Favola kicked one, but it wasn't quite as spectacular as that.
No. So it was like a long kick from outside 50. He was wrestling to try and shepherd it through, and in the end thought, I'll stick a boot out.
It's just so creative these days, aren't they? When Daniel Wells first did it, we were all mind blown, and now we've had 2 consecutive guys do it.
The timing to hold your opponent and then swing you. I mean, soccer players find that hard enough, let alone an AFL player. It's an extraordinary piece of talent.
Heck of a goal from Brody Mychek.
Great goal. Is it a worry that the last 4 teams to play this weekend scored 77, 48, 34 and 64 points?
Perhaps.
Is there a worry that the scoring that we saw early in the season has dried up to a degree?
It normally does a little bit, but what do you... Well, actually, we'll go down to Jess very shortly, but what do you think about the way that the game looks? Because I think the AFL's happy if the actual game is moving quickly, if the ball's pinging up and down. There are periods of today's game here that were slow, but St Kilda still made an effort to kick, mark and play on it as much as they could. Did you think the ball movement was still fast enough to be visually entertaining if they'd finished their work today?
It was better than some of the other games I've seen in the last 2 weeks. To be honest, I've seen 4 games live the last 2 weeks, and they've all been stinkers. Today was the best one of the lot at 64-34.
Yeah.
Let's go down to the rooms. Jess Webster.
Thanks, Ben. Here with Jack Ziebel. Thanks for joining us post-game. Obviously, a tough loss under the roof here at Docklands. What was the feedback from Clarko in the team meeting?
We actually haven't had it yet. We're going to go in a minute or two. I think you just got told that too, Jess, so great question. But, it's obviously a disappointing night tonight. We thought... we were a chance going into this game. Obviously, we haven't performed very well the last 3 to 4 weeks, and we know we're capable of better. But she was a pretty ugly night tonight in terms, definitely in front of goals as well. And St Kilda are a really, really strong defensive side. They're going really well at the moment, so we're excited by the challenge coming in. And 30 points is probably... I mean, they probably kicked a few too many points as well, but we kicked 0-7 to go in at half-time. It was disappointing, and I think we missed a few easy chances that probably could have kept us in the game a bit and put some pressure on in that third quarter when we kicked 2 or 3 in a row. So there's some positives out for us going forward, some areas around the ground that we've been working on. We're just about to go in the meeting with Clarko as well, so we'll get his take on that in a moment as well.
You touched on areas of the game where there are positives. Can you elaborate on that further, and what areas do you think you're taking positive steps in?
Yeah, I think our defence was a lot better tonight. I know they kicked a lot of points, but they're having a lot of shots from tough positions as well. In the past month, I think we've allowed way too many marks inside opposition forward 50. So we've had a big focus in the last couple of weeks of really trying to resurrect that. And going forward, that will be a focus for us as well. And we're a bit of barometer around the contest. I'm not sure the exact numbers, but I thought the boys applied a bit more pressure around the contest tonight, which enabled St Kilda not to really have too many free runs at their forward line, which is really important in defence. And I think a few of our ball movement things we challenged a few of our ball movement plays challenged St Kilda going forward. We just couldn't capitalise by finish off that last bit of play.
Might quickly head you upstairs for a couple of questions from our experts, Brad Sewell and Nathan Burke.
Jack, Brad Sewell, well done tonight. You must be loving half-back. Leather poisoning tonight.
Yeah, it's always better when you get a win, Sully. It's pretty irrelevant how you play if you don't get the 4 points. So I'm enjoying being back behind the ball, helping set the boys up. I think that's probably one of my strengths as a player is like communication, and especially with a few young guys slotting in back there, especially coming back tonight with little Miller Bergman and Flinny Perez coming back into the side for the first time this year after a bit of a layoff. So it's good to get those young boys back in there and finding their feet.
Liam Shields was good tonight. He seems to be getting better and better each week. How's he fit into the group?
Awesome. Yeah, you know probably pretty well, Sully. So he's fitted in he's been here for 10 years. He's brought a level of professionalism, knowledge of the game. The way he goes about his footy's unreal. To be fair, I still can't believe he's found his way to North. He probably should be still playing with the Hawks, but we're very lucky to have him, and he's providing some awesome leadership for us, especially around the middle of the ground.
Jack, I know you've got to go. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
There is Jack Ziebel. Has to rush off and get to that team meeting. Appreciate him giving us his time after the win is what I'm trying to get out there, Jack Ziebel. Jack Bytel is doing his running around Docklands at the moment, which wouldn't be an awful lot of fun. Looks like he's got Zane Cordy for a little bit of company as well. And he'll continue to run laps and get his kilometres up to wrap all of this up.
So is Lazaro as well.
Yeah.
Should have a race. Make it a bit more entertaining.
Yeah.
This would be the worst thing about being the sub.
Kick the footy to one another, because they normally do a bit of ball work as well at the end of it. So play a bit of 2-on-2 or something to get their Ks up. We were speaking about Collingwood and Sydney before we went down into the rooms to catch up with Jack Zeeble. Isaac Quaynor caught up post-match with Lauren Borden. Here is that chat.
Isaac Quaynor, congratulations on the win today and your own performance. 7-1 to start the season and you're top of the table to finish the round. You must be so happy with how your side started the season.
Yeah, 100%. 7-1 to start like that. With all the work we put in throughout the pre-season, it's kind of a testament to all that. And it's all kind of coming out on game day. We're having fun out there. We're enjoying our footy, and it's all coming to the table.
There was a bit of spice out there against Sydney. Was it all to do with the preliminary final last year, or is there something else that's stemming under there against Sydney?
Oh, there's probably a bit of everything. There's the whole Nick tag, the prelim final. And I think that's just a little bit how they play their football. They play on edge, and we love it. So we kind of feed off that. We protect our own. We don't try and go overboard, and I think we did really well with that.
We were wondering if that did get spoken about, John Longmire saying we're either going to have to hurt him or stop him. Was it something that spurred you on?
Oh, I think I see myself as a bit of a protector for Nick. So as soon as I saw him getting into him, I don't get angry that often, but I was fuming. So, I think if that's how teams are going to go about it, we've got ways we can counter it.
And you had a nice 5-point lead there at three-quarter time. What's it like when you do have that buffer when normally you are the side coming from behind?
Yeah, it's nice. It's a rarity, as you said. So I think that's something that we actually usually don't do too well when we're in front. We're usually better at coming from behind. So we actually did a really good job to kind of put them away in the last quarter and kind of keep our foot on their throat and finish them off.
Something I was interested in that Craig McRae said during the week is we teach our players to be on and off at certain points of the game, when sometimes you hear coaches who say we have to be on for the full 120 minutes. What is that like, teaching you about when to turn off your concentration at certain times?
Yeah, so we have a thing called like reset. So when you cross the line, especially if you're coming off for an interchange or something, that time's yours. So if you're someone that likes to laugh and joke, that can be you. If you want to sit there and be serious, that's you. So he puts no pressure on you to kind of act a certain way when you're not on the ground, but when you cross that white line, you're ready to go and you're active.
That is fascinating, something that you do see on the boundary line. It seems like it stems down into these rooms as well, where everyone's happy to spend time with family and encouraged to do that as well.
Yeah, 100%. We have a thing here, family first, and I think that's, you can see, like, there's kids in the when we're singing the song, there's so much family around, and it just makes it a really special environment that everyone wants to be part of.
Well, thanks for your time, Isaac. Good luck next week against GWS.
Very much. Cheers.
Isaac Quaynor speaking to Lauren Borden after the Pies win. What did you make of that? You can smile, laugh, the time's yours, and just reset as long as you're on between the lines.
Seems like a good place to be at the moment, the Pies, doesn't it?
Yep.
They're very accepting of the individual and your own preparation and your own kind of mentality to the game. And we saw, was it a piece of play, Braden Maynard with direct turnover and goal last week?
Yeah.
And they almost had a laugh about it.
Stumped his toe, took a divot.
Yeah. Yeah. And there was everyone was obviously very quick to reset after that, but it just seems like a really good place at the moment at Collingwood, and they're certainly playing football that reflects that.
You're a coach, Berkey. Do you let the AFLW players have their own time on the bench?
Mate, you would absolutely freak out if you came into the rooms before the game and saw how the girls carry on. Seriously, they're just loving it, dancing, singing, carrying on, and then they go out there and play footy. That's just what they do. So the traditional football person who comes in an AFLW room, they have a bit of a heart attack.
Yeah, it's very much the modern youth, isn't it? It's the way they like to go about it. The match review findings for the latter part of this round. So Brad Close offered a one-match ban for rough conduct on Jordan Dawson. So in the fourth quarter, careless conduct, medium impact, high contact. Tanner Bruin can get a $3,000 fine for rough conduct on Rory Laird. Tyler Brockman will also get a one-match ban for rough conduct on Brandon Walker of the Dockers. Careless conduct, medium impact, high contact. And the big one, Jacob Van Rooyen striking first offence on Charlie Ballard in the fourth quarter. Careless conduct, high impact, high contact, 2 weeks. You're formerly a part of the MRP, Nathan Burke. What do you make of that?
Yeah, I wouldn't have given it striking. Certainly, to me, it's not a strike. A strike is a punch, and that was not a punch. That was a sloppy spoil at best. The close tackle one as well. I think, unfortunately, we've made a rod for our back by suspending every dangerous tackle these days. That was certainly, if by memory, it's a lift, a rotation, a forceful pushing into the ground of a player in a vulnerable position. Doesn't really tick any of those, and we forget that the first level of sanction for a dangerous tackle is a free kick. So that's level 1. Level 2 is a fine. Okay, level 3 is a 1-week suspension. You can't tell me that is a level 3 dangerous tackle and misses a week for it. I think we've just made a rod for our back, and that every dangerous tackle now is skipping step 1 and 2 and going straight to step 3.
So do you think the system's working?
No, we still get them, don't we? Every week.
So how do we fix it? Is it just in the implementation from the MRO?
Are those players thinking, oh, gee, I might get a week here? I don't think so. I haven't seen anything different. You're going to get them. Players are going to, in that split second, he's thinking, I can't let this guy handball the ball. He didn't rotate him. He didn't throw him in the ground. He didn't lift. He didn't spin. I can't let this guy handball the ball, so I'm just going to grab his arms. And he goes into the ground, and he misses a whole week of football because of that. I just think we've gone too far.
So it seems like what's changed is the class action.
Yeah, I know why they're doing it. They want to take away the big ones that we saw at the start of the year, where you pick up a player, you rotate, and you forcibly put them into the ground. Absolutely, come down hard on those guys. Give them 4 weeks. Absolutely. But what we've seen now is you don't need to overly rotate a player. You don't need to drive them. You don't need to put them on a dangerous angle, and you still miss games. So that, to me, that's a level 1. Sanction the guy, fine the guy. Players hate fines. They're all tight bottoms. So fine the guy, but straight to every single time one of them happens, you miss a week. I think that's just wrong. Come down hard on the bad ones. Absolutely smash them. Smash them even harder than what we have been. But just for those ones that are free kicks, you shouldn't miss a game for a free kick.
So if you're Melbourne, you're taking Van Rooyen and that case to the tribunal?
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. And I'm saying that's a clumsy football action.
Not a strike.
No, to a player who was potentially kneed in the head earlier in the game. So you can't say, okay, he got kneed in the head and he went down and he was assessed and then put back out there. Is it delayed issues, all that sort of stuff? I'd be arguing all that sort of stuff. There's no rule in the book that says you have to have your eyes on the ball the whole time. There's no rule that says that. So all these commentators are saying, oh, he took his eyes off the ball. Well, if you're running with a flight of the ball, you run, you look at the guy and you see where his hands are going to actually mark the ball, and that's where you put your fist. Because you realise you can't mark it, so I'm going to put my fist where his hands are, and to do that I have to take my eyes off the ball. That's not a free kick.
Wasn't even given a 50-metre penalty yesterday either. So he went down, Ballard, stretch it off, break in the game, and free kick taken from the same point as where he went down. So, yeah, I mean, it clearly wasn't deemed late on the ground at the time.
No, he was still in the air.
Yeah.
His fist was an inch away from actually punching the ball.
Yeah, and I agree with you too. I mean, he's clearly looking at the ball, even if he's looking at the ball coming down, and as soon as it hits the hands, he wants to smack that ball out of the hands. So, yeah, I think these are the ones at the tribunal, as you mentioned before, that need to be discussed.
Yep.
Because they're a bit hard to just pop into a table.
And you've got to put yourself in his shoes too. In that situation, he is the player in the vulnerable position. He's the one running back with a flight of it, with a player coming potentially in the other direction. He's not running back thinking, I'm going to smash this bloke. He's thinking, I hope I don't get smashed, and you know what, I might spoil that ball. And accidents happen.
All right, who's on duty for the votes for the game we watched earlier and have moved on from?
Sully is.
Sully.
Me.
Who have you got for us?
Jesus, just give me a couple of seconds here.
Okay.
All right. I can read out some text
Yeah, good
if you
man,
need some
good man.
time.
I'll be interested to see if one player makes it, but go ahead.
Paddy an officer says this is the fourth game this year where the players have mentioned the air pressure in the balls post-match.
Well, there you go.
Very interesting from Paddy, who's obviously been paying attention. Rocky says, is it a concern for Mitch Owens in the ruck, such a young body risking injury? Cheers, that's from Rocky as well. And Chris in Perth says he thought today was North's best effort since the Carlton game, and they were far more competitive than just about any time this season. It's a long road, but we will get there. What have you got for us here, Sully?
Okay. I've given one vote to Liam Shields. I thought he was terrific for the Kangaroos. I think I've mucked it up there now. No, I'll give one vote to Larky.
One vote to Larky,
Yep.
okay. Yep.
2 to Shields and then 3 to Wilkie.
All right.
Go, Maisie. Who are you thinking?
No, I was just interested to see whether you'd give Jack Ziebel a vote after 36 possessions.
No, a lot of junk.
No, I agree.
And how many of those, Saints kicked 16 points. How many of those are kick-ins as well?
Yeah.
Probably less than double.
Yeah, correct.
Earlier today, it was Port Adelaide winning by 5 points over Essendon. Zach Butters did catch up with our ABC Grandstand team after the match to have a chat about all of that.
Zach Butters just got 3 votes then in the ABC Footballer of the Year. But before we get stuck into the game, we saw you hobble off with a knee injury in the last quarter. How's it feeling?
Yeah, I've just happened to get a corky the last, 2 or 3 weeks in the same spot a couple of times. And then got a couple of hits on it today. So it's just a bit sore and banged up. But I was sort of battling late. But the boys were huge again late, and another good win for the club.
Well, hopefully that's good news going forward. How were the nerves there at the end, especially when Andrew Phillips had that last shot for goal?
Yeah, definitely nerve-wracking when you probably know there's not long left and someone's got a shot. So it was very close and nerve-wracking, but I thought the boys were good on the line to get it over, and in the end got the win, and probably didn't kick straight, made it a bit tougher than we probably could have made it, but I think it was just good to get another win and keep the ball rolling.
Let's talk about the goal kicking. 12 goals, 20. Could you believe it when shot after shot just gets sailing wide?
Yeah, it's a little frustrating as a player because you feel like you're doing a lot of good work and you're probably just not quite getting that cherry on top. So I think, we remain positive and we knew we were going to get our look still and we'll get opportunities going forward. It's just a matter of when we were going to finish them, and we just knew we kept playing the same way, the opportunities would come, and hopefully when the times and in the moments when it matters we can kick them goals, and I thought the boys did that well in the last quarter.
And just before we go upstairs, the man standing next to you, Jeremy Finlayson, went into the ruck there in the second half, seemed to change it around the stoppages. Just how important has he been for this club and his versatility?
Yeah, I think his last 4 or 5 weeks, probably started at the Sydney game, and then his versatility is huge for the group. He was probably back in the back line late last week, taking intercept marks and slowing things down, and this week into the ruck. So I think it's credit to him how he can handle that and handle all the role changes and keeping on top of everything. So he's been super in big moments when we need them.
All right, let's go upstairs for some questions from our experts.
And Zach, congratulations on an absolutely outstanding game and a terrific win for Port Adelaide. Just wanted to ask you a question about the message from Josh Carr at quarter time. Obviously, you being an integral part of that midfield group, looked like the centre bounce was creating a few issues and the dominance that Essendon were getting out, which resulted in field position. So what was the message and what sort of adjustments did you make to arrest that momentum?
Yeah, they definitely got on top early, and Big Drapes was getting the ball out in the space. So, the key message was we just got to be a bit better with our body work and try to keep the ball in a bit tighter and force a bit of a contest, because their mids are really good with their hands and getting outside and getting a bit of run on the ball. So, the key messaging there was just to get a bit more proactive with our body work, keep the ball in tight, and force more of a contest.
Zach, thank you for joining us in the post-game. How do you reflect on the season so far now? After 3 rounds, it felt like there was a lot of critics for this footy club and how far you could actually go, but you've won 5 in a row now. It must be incredible inside the 4 walls to feel like you've answered your critics.
Yeah, I think I'm just proud of the group and the coaching staff for sticking together and sticking to the process and probably not getting too worried about results and our method and habits and behaviours changing on results. So I think it's just been good to stick to the process, keep rocking up the club, wanting to get better, keep working hard, and I feel like we've started to see some results. So if we can just stick to the process, I think that will help us in the long run.
And Tommy Jonas, how's he looking down there?
Yeah, I think he just got a bit of a whack to the chest area, so I'm not exactly sure the results or what's exactly wrong, but I'm sure he'll get some scans in the next few days, and we'll find out more about that in the next few days.
Zach, just another question, and it's probably more for the benefit of the listeners that are tuning in. Just want to go back to the last 2 or 3 minutes of that game, and if you can give us a bit of an insight into how much work AFL clubs, and I guess more specifically Port Adelaide, spend on sort of game state stuff. So if you're up by 6 points, you're down by 6 points, what are you trying to achieve out there, and how much time do you spend practicing that at training?
Yeah, we definitely put a lot of time into it and have a lot of meetings at the club and education around what to do in them scenarios. So I think that's been a huge for us this year, and we've been in a lot of them. But in saying that, I think across the competition, if you look this year, the games are closer, the competition's more even, so there's going to be a lot more closer games. I think out of the 70 or 60 games that have been played this year, I think 30 have been won by under 3 goals. So I think you sort of expect to be in closer games for longer, so it's ever more important at the moment to be good in them situations. And we train a lot throughout the week, so it's been good to see some reward, and we'll keep growing in that area.
Zach, enormous game from yourself today. I mean, you're heading to play North Melbourne next weekend. There's going to be a lot of talk around Jason Horne-Francis. How will you get around him this week and heading into the game?
Yeah, I think we'll just support him as we do every week, and a bit extra on game day. I'm sure they're going to bring some competitiveness and probably have a bit to go at him, so I think we'll just back him up out there. And I think the number one thing for Jason the last few weeks is just go win the footy and have some fun, and I think it's been brilliant to see him do that, and brilliant to play alongside him.
Zach, it was an incredible performance today. Congratulations on getting over the line for the 5th win in a row, and best of luck against North next weekend.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Zach Butters post-match after Port Adelaide's win over Essendon. Some bad news today. Confirmation that Jai Cully has ruptured his ACL and will miss the rest of the season. It could leave West Coast with as few as 25 fit players next weekend. That's a real issue for them. Time for the thank yous. A big thank you to Stu Birchmore. Tech today did an outstanding job. Jess Webster down on the boundary. Akash Fodadar back in the studio. Maisie here. Sully, Berkey, that's Brad Sewell and Nathan Burke. It was the Saints who won by 30 points over North Melbourne. Here's how it sounded.
This will land about 30 out from goal. Where are the Flyers from behind? The Saints had a few. Rode by Shees will work the 1-2. And then Spilton on the way through. Butler squeezes out a kick and has the first of the afternoon. Lovely little piece of improvisation to squeeze that kick through on his left. Dan Butler has the first of the game. It took a long time, 18 minutes of the opening term. They lead by one straight kick, the Saints.
Long kick to the wing. Massive fly. Spring-heeled Sharman goes up and gets it. Takes a massive hang on the wing. Welcome back to AFL footy, Cooper Sharman.
Cunnington spilt it. Became the tackler on Steele. We got the hand pass away to Higgins. Can he snap and goal? Yes! Finally, we've got our second. Higgins snaps the goal.
Favourable bounce from McGuire. Gets back. Handball errant. Allows in Butler for the Saints. Oh, a twist, a spin, a snap and a goal. The misdirection of the magician of Butler. As the siren sounds, and it is a goalless half for North Melbourne.
Chain of hand passes ends up with Hill, but it was intercepted by Sheasel, who goes inside 50. Lovely kick, finds Larky, and he can line up from 35 out slide angle to the right. Can this be the first of the afternoon? Larky comes in, and the fans are celebrating. North Melbourne with their first. It's taken 2 quarters and 3 minutes, but they're there.
Saints out of the middle. Phillippo, handball away to Crouch. Sinclair breaking the 50, bursting on goal and kicking it. The All-Australian shows us why. A little touch on class on a day it's been lacking. Extracts it to Zerha, looking for Larky. He's kicked both of the Roos goal. He comes in. He's a one-man band up forward for the Roos. He's got 3, as do they. Higgins, handball away to Hill. Wheels and kicks, St Kilda to full forward. Sharman marks on his chest. First game of the year. First goal of the year for Cooper Sharman. And St Kilda have the answers again. A relieving kick for the Saints. Oh, Phillippo going upstairs. He nearly hit his head on the roof here at Docklands.
They moved this beautifully, St Kilda, to Hill. He thought about a bounce. Kicks inside 50 to finish the move. Wood, one grab and the second. Lovely footy, St Kilda. Mason Wood to come in and seal the deal for the Saints. And he puts the final nail in the coffin. And probably fittingly, that is the siren. It's been a day of behinds. It wasn't pretty. But St Kilda will take the 4 points. And they're back inside the top 4 after the opening 8 rounds of season 2023. 8-16-64, plays 4-10-34, a 5-goal win.